At Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia, the New York Mets play the Philadelphia Phillies. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Spectrum. Switch and save with Spectrum Mobile. Nationwide 5G included. Restrictions apply. Visit SpectrumMobile.com. By Citi, for each home run at Citi Field, Citi will donate $2,000 to No Kid Hungry. By Geico, switch today and see all the ways you could save. And by your Tri-State Audi dealers. Mets came to Philadelphia after winning 3 out of 4 in Washington. And on Monday night, they got started early. 3 runs in the first inning. They added a run later on. Marcana stayed hot, and the Mets had a 4-0 lead going to the bottom of the 8th, but it all changed in a hurry. At 4-1, JT Realmuto with a 2-run homer against Joely Rodriguez. It got worse from there. Seth Lugo came in, walked a batter, gave up a run-scoring double to Rhys Hoskins. That tied the game at 4, and the very next batter was Didi Gregorius, and he delivered a double in the gap that brought home Hoskins and gave the Phillies a come-from-behind 5-4 win. Last night, terrific pitchers duel between Tyler McGill and former Met Zach Wheeler. McGill's second start, and he was brilliant again. 5 1/3 scoreless innings, and he held the Phillies at bay long enough for the Mets to strike. Brandon Nimmo homering against his good friend Zach Wheeler to give the Mets a 1-0 lead in the 5th. Mets would add another run in the 8th inning. Starlin Marte got aboard, stole a base, and Francisco Lindor drove him home to give the Mets a 2-0 lead. Mets bullpen was solid, and they held on for a 2-0 win, evening up the series at a game apiece. Gorgeous day in Philadelphia for the rubber game of this 3-game series. And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody, and welcome inside the broadcast booth in Philadelphia. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez with you today as the Mets finish off their series with the Phillies, and a terrific pitching matchup today with Max Scherzer on the mound for his second start as a Met.
Well, he didn't have his fastball in Washington, a shortened spring training, but he went 6 innings, gave up 3 runs. The home run was the only really blemish he had, but he has really thrived against the Philadelphia Phillies. 14-4 lifetime, and in this ballpark here, Citizens Bank Park, he sports an 8-1 record.
And you can see the intensity with which Max approaches his job. I don't think you want to go anywhere near him as he gets ready to take the mound.
I think there are certain pitchers over my lifetime, my career, that you just stayed away from, as far away as possible.
Meanwhile, on the mound for the Phillies, it's Aaron Nola, who has had a lot of success against the Mets over the years. He's never quite lived up to the promise of his great 2018 season. He's trying to bounce back.
Well, he won his first ball game. He gave up a 3-run home run in the 7th, didn't get out of the 7th inning, but got the win. I thought he kind of had a tick back last year, lost a little bit of velocity, but they said he pitched a very fine ball game in his first start. He's 1-0, and he's also 9-3 lifetime against the Metropolitans.
Should be around 80 degrees this afternoon as the Mets close out their opening road trip. They've already guaranteed a winning trip before the home opener Friday. It's the Mets and Phillies coming up on SNY. Baseball on SNY is brought to you by your Tri-State Cadillac dealers. Gravitate to greatness and visit your Tri-State Cadillac dealer today. By Catholic Health, long live Long Island. And by Delta, the official airline of the New York Mets. Get to Citi Field for opening day and the biggest games in 2022 with a Mets season membership. Choose the membership that fits your schedule and fandom. Visit Mets.com/memberships for more information. Your Charmin Ultra Strong stats. Max Scherzer's had 104 games in his career with 10 or more strikeouts. Only 4 pitchers in history have more, led by the dynamic duo of Nolan Ryan and Randy Johnson, far ahead of the rest of the pack. Eduardo Escobar having some fun with the Fanatic. Mets and Phillies. Beautiful day. First pitch coming up. Start as a Met. Beat his old team in Washington. Now he'll face his personal whipping boys, the Phillies, against whom he's 14-4 lifetime. Here's the Mets starting lineup, brought to you by Geico. Dom Smith in the lineup at first base today. That pushes Pete Alonso to DH. A little flip in the 2nd and 3rd spots in the order. Lindor moves up to 2nd, Marte to 3rd. Buck Showalter saying he wants to get a little different look at those two. And here's Aaron Nola, who has had some great days against the Mets. came last year. First game of a doubleheader at Citi Field. He struck out 10 consecutive batters, tying the major league record that had been set just a few hundred yards away at Shea Stadium by Tom Seaver some 51 years earlier. Later in the year, Corbin Burns would also match that mark, but Nola was the first to match Seaver's record as he struck out 10 in a row. He fanned 12 that day, but the Mets wound up winning that game 2-1. Nola 9-3 lifetime against New York.
I remember that start. A lot of called strikes on the fastball. Mets were looking at breaking ball, and he really mixed up his pitches beautifully that game.
Michael Conforto played the role of Al Ferrara in that he was the first and 10th strikeout in that streak.
And your Phillies defense on the infield, you've got Johan Camargo with his first career major league start at first base. He has played a lot in the minor leagues, and so he's not exactly totally inexperienced. But the Phillies kind of chasing it around, moving it around. There's Joe Girardi.
Well, Girardi sitting Rhys Hoskins today because Hoskins has had dreadful numbers against Max Scherzer, just 1 for 23 lifetime. However, he's not the only Philly who has struggled against Scherzer. Scherzer has dominated this team over the course of his National League East career. Showalter's team finishing off the opening road trip today. Home opener coming up on Friday. Mets have already clinched themselves a winning record on this trip, winning 4 of their first 6.
Always as a player, a getaway day coming home, particularly down here in Philadelphia. It's nice to have a day game. You get home at dinner hour, and you got the off day tomorrow for the Metsies, and it's just going to be a nice little recharge of the batteries, a little respite, get settled in for the first homestand.
And they finished the road trip with an absolutely gem of a day. 77 degrees, a little high, thin cloud cover as Brandon Nimmo gets set to lead off against Aaron Nola. Nimmo homered for the first run for the Mets last night in their 2-0 win. And Nola's first pitch of the day misses low and inside for ball 1, and we're underway. Nimmo 3 for 7 in the series, 7 for 21 to begin the year. His on-base percentage right where it normally is at .391. Lindor and Marte to follow for the Mets. Mets lost 6 of 9 in this ballpark last year, trying to take their first series against the Phils. First of 4 series that these teams will play before the end of May. 13 of the 19 games between these two teams will be done by the time June 1st arrives. Aaron Nola, now 28 years old, had his seminal season in 2018 when he went 17-6 with a 2.37. That was a great Cy Young race that year. Jacob deGrom won it, his first of 2 straight. Scherzer finished second, and Nola, despite that great year, finished third. But since that 2018 season, Nola's 26-21 with a 4.08 ERA, so he really has not been the same pitcher that the Phillies hoped would put up similar numbers for years to come. And Nimmo takes a strike, 3-1.
In his first start against Oakland here, he was a leading 5-1 going into the 7th inning and didn't get anybody out. Gave up a 3-run home run to Seth Brown, and but he did get the win.
Like Scherzer, he doesn't walk many, fewer than 2 walks per 9 innings, but he walks Nimmo to start the game. So Nimmo draws his 3rd walk of the year. You were complaining the other day that he wasn't walking.
I wasn't complaining.
You were just noting.
I just made a note.
Well, Nimmo sprints down to first, aboard to lead off the game. There's the career for Nola. First round draft pick by the Phillies back in 2014 out of LSU.
This is his 173rd start, as you can see there. 39-20 in 86 starts at home here at Citizens Bank Park.
So here's Lindor, moved up to the number 2 spot in the batting order.
I like him there in that spot.
Francisco 2 for 8 in this series. And the curveball from Nola misses outside for ball 1.
So Nola having a hard time finding the dish right now. 5 balls and only 1 strike.
Let's have some guys in the lineup who have hit Nola well. Nimmo was hitting over 300 against Nola coming in. Lindor is 3 for 9 against him. Pete Alonso's got great numbers against Nola.
And you can see the shift, not playing Lindor out in the outfield because he's got too much. He's a faster runner. And you got a double play to turn.
Mets have been doing a lot of running early in the season. They've already stolen 5 bases in their first 6 games.
This is the defensive positioning where if the second baseman fields the balls, it's with the shortstop on the right side of the infield. It makes for such a difficult turn for
Nimmo doing some housekeeping in the spot where he's taking his lead, and then Camargo went over and looked like he was replacing a divot.
You got to do
competing housekeeping by the runner and the first baseman.
It's not housekeeping, Gary. It's called gardening.
Well, but there's no flowers. There's no vegetation. It's just
got to sow the field.
It's just dirt, Keith.
Oh boy.
And Nola really struggling. Misses badly with the changeup. So he threw a curveball well out of the strike zone. Now a changeup that wasn't even close. So he's trying to settle in, and the Mets hoping to jump on him.
Well, he's in a position here up against Scherzer, who has just dominated the Phillies, where he can ill afford a bad first inning here. He's got to get his rhythm.
Mets jumped on Ranger Suarez for 3 runs in the first inning on Monday. And they had an opportunity in the first inning last night against Zach Wheeler. They loaded the bases with 2 out. Wheeler was certainly not at his best last night in his first start of the year. And the fastball's in for a strike, 2-1. Wheeler still working his way back from some offseason shoulder problems. He was hitting only 94 on the gun at times, yet he was able to get through 4 innings, 4 2/3 actually, before Nimmo got him for the only run he would allow. Marte on deck. Nimmo at first, just getting started. And Nola paying a lot of attention to Nimmo, who does not do a lot of base stealing, but certainly has the capability.
This is traditionally, excuse me, traditionally a 2-1 count is a hit and run count, but Lindor is, I wouldn't want to hit and run with Lindor.
And the curveball lifted out to left. Coming toward the line is Castellanos to the stripe and across, and he makes the catch. Nice play by Castellanos right up against that sidewall for the first out of the game. So Castellanos, for whom most of his outfield experience is in right field, getting accustomed to playing some left field and negotiating that line in the sidewall to make a nice play.
A little bit of a stumble there, but headed all the way.
Castellanos, who was a third baseman earlier in his career, probably going to do more DHing than anything else for the Phils this year. Here's Marte, who's 1 for 7 in this series. Nimmo at first and 1 out. And Starling hits a double play ball right at Segura. And Gregorius with the turn for the 4-6-3 double play that gets Nola through the top of the first. Max Scherzer takes the mound for the Mets when we come back to Philadelphia. Because of his struggles against Max Scherzer, JT Realmuto is just 5 for 50. 5 for 50. Oh, and Scherzer. That's hard to believe. Segura's got good numbers, but really the only guy in the lineup who's had much luck against Max.
And there's Big Max. Like as I mentioned, 14-4 against the Phillies, 8-1 here at Citizens Bank Park. That's over 12 starts, 25 career starts against these Phillies, and he's like Nolan Ryan storming around that mound, isn't he?
Trying to keep going this great run of starting pitching the Mets have had to start the year. Scherzer's the only starter to give up more than 1 run in any of the first 6 games. Now Schwarber leads off. Scherzer's former Nationals teammate takes a strike. Schwarber 0 for 8 in this series. Mets have held him in check so far. He's just 2 for 18 to start the year. And Max fires a fastball in for a strike, 1-1.
His first at bat in a Philly uniform was a solo home run on opening day, Mr. Schwarber.
Scherzer throwing that fastball at 96 miles an hour. That's nice to see. Definitely did not have his best fastball in his first start. And he misses away, 2-1. Still dealing with that hamstring issue that he tweaked at the end of spring training. And as he put it, he pitched around that issue in his first start. Used all of his pitches. Just if you look at his pitch distribution, Last year he threw his fastball 47% of the time. In that first start, only 39%. So this gives you an idea about how he chose to deal with whatever discomfort he was working through. And he fires a fastball in for a strike. Schwarber thought he had ball 4, but he has to come on back as Adrian Johnson called that a strike.
You read Joe's lips. That ball's low. Come on. Adrian Johnson behind the plate.
Joe Girardi in the dugout. Max Scherzer on the mound. That led to some hard feelings last year when Max pitched against the Phillies. 3-2 to Schwarber, and he fouls it away. That's right as they were starting to check pitchers for sticky substances, and Girardi saw Scherzer take off his hat and run his hand through his hair and cajole the umpires to have Scherzer checked 3 different times, and Max did not appreciate that at all. 3-2 coming, and it's low and inside, ball 4. Schwarber looks back at Adrian Johnson and says, "Do I have my base now?" So each pitcher has walked the leadoff hitter.
And your Lexus Metropolitan defense, Tomas Nido back behind the dish. Dominic gets a start at first base. Out in the outfield, well, that's been pretty much the big 3 Musketeers out there. Marte's 2 gold gloves, as I mentioned before, with the Pirates, but they were in left field. But he plays a nice right field. He's athletic. He knows what he's doing.
Atos, Portos,
Arami.
Here's JT Realmuto, 3 for 8 in this series with a home run and a double. And the slider misses low from Scherzer, ball 1. Realmuto 5 for 50 against Scherzer. 2 of those 5 hits, though, have been home runs. Scherzer will give up home runs. He gave up a long ball to Josh Bell in his first start. 23 home runs allowed last year. Dom playing in front of the runner at first, and Scherzer pops the outside corner with a fastball, and it's 1-1. This is not a great pitcher's ballpark, but Scherzer has thrived here. 12 career starts at Citizens Bank Park. He's 8-1 with a 2.23 ERA. How about this for consistency? The last 14 regular season starts that Max has made, so that covers his time in Washington and with the Dodgers and his first start with the Mets. His team is 14-0 in his last 14 starts.
He was terrific for the Dodgers last year in that second half.
Popped it up into shallow right. Long run in for Marte, looking through the sunglasses. He'll get there. And that's Scherzer's first out.
Max 191 career wins, closing on that 200 win plateau.
Now Bryce Harper has had a rough series so far. He's gone 1 for 7 and struck out 5 times. His only hit was an infield single. DH'd last night, back in right field today. This Philly team as a whole off to a slow offensive start, but it is a formidable lineup. Scherzer throws a fastball right by his former teammate. 0-1.
Well, Harper's got that odd swing, and it's always his bat is always tilted. Watch his head, folks. You're supposed to be, everybody's taught to keep your eyes horizontal to the parallel to the ground. Scherzer tilts at a Harper tilts his eyes at a 45-degree angle. I don't know how he does it, but he does it. A 2-time MVP, 300 hitter. It's all about just making the contact, squaring it up.
To me, that's the amazing part about Harper's 2 MVP seasons. Not that he's hit for the kind of power he has, but that he's hit for such a high average. And Scherzer just misses inside with the fastball. 2-1. Harper's 3 for 12 with a home run against Scherzer in their head-to-head confrontation. some of the sun-splashed crowd on an 80-degree Wednesday afternoon. And Scherzer throws low and in, and he's behind again.
He's struggling, much like Nola did in the first inning. And Nola got the double play to get him out. But Max is having a hard time finding the range here.
The thing you expect from Max Scherzer always is that he's going to be a strike thrower. Last year, just 1.8 walks per 9 innings. Walked 1 in his first start. He's already walked 1 today. And now behind Harper, 3-1. And Bryce takes outside, ball 4. So a couple of walks in the first inning for Scherzer. And he'll face Nick Castellanos with 2 men on. Max going to take a stroll back behind the mound.
I think, you know, Harper's off to a 2 for 18 start. He's always been Mr. April. It's always been a good month for him. And this is a rarity where he's struggling so much. And then still the respect there, Gare, with the 2 right-hand hitters behind Harper. 3-1 changeup. I don't think he wanted to challenge him 3-1.
So 2 aboard for Castellanos, who is 3 for 7 in this series. First inning opportunity for the Phillies after a couple of rare walks by Scherzer. And Castellanos goes after a first pitch cutter, 0-1. Castellanos just 1 for 9 in his career against Scherzer.
It's a good slider. This is Max's 400 career start, Gary.
It's a lot of starts.
Yes, it is.
It's a lot of innings and a lot of strikeouts. And another cutter. That one misses outside, a ball and a strike. Scherzer is the active leader in strikeouts, but only barely. He's got 3,026 strikeouts, which right now is 6 more than Justin Verlander. Scherzer's 18th on the all-time strikeout list. And he pops the inside corner with a fastball to get ahead on Castellanos, 1-2. Gene Segura waiting on deck. Hard-working first inning for Scherzer. He's about to throw his 20th pitch. Neal very close to Schwarber as he takes his lead at second. 1-2 coming. And Castellanos lays off the slider, and it's 2-2. There are your active strikeout leaders. It's going to be nip and tuck with Verlander back from Tommy John surgery. A lot of deep counts early in this game for Max. 2-2 coming. And he missed inside with a changeup, and now it's 3-2.
He's falling behind Gare and not really going to his fastball. He's going to his changeup, and he's having a hard time commanding it early.
So 4 batters for Scherzer and his third 3-ball count. He walked Schwarber, he walked Harper, sandwiching a fly ball from Real Muto, and he's got a big pitch to make early in this game. 3-2 to Castellanos with Segura waiting on deck.
Good step out right there. You got a pitcher out there that is trying to find it, and don't let him dictate the pace. Try to keep on disrupting his rhythm or his attempt to find it.
And trying to get together with Nito on the signs and having trouble doing it, and Nito finally has to go out for a conversation. This is where the pitch comm would really come into play. You got a runner at second base, and all you need to do is press a button, but Scherzer has said he's not really comfortable with the pitch comm technology yet. He might come around as the season goes along. So they have to rely on the old-fashioned set of signs with a runner at second base. And Scherzer stepping off, almost balked. And he's having a conversation with Adrian Johnson. Now he's finally ready to go. So Scherzer a little out of sorts here, trying to make a big pitch to Castellanos. And he walked him.
Wow.
And that loads the bases. Missed badly with a fastball low and away. So uncharacteristically, Scherzer has walked 3 in the opening inning. And this is, right now, this is where, as a new pitching coach working with a veteran pitcher, you have to decide, is it worth my while if I'm Jeremy Hefner to go out and talk to Scherzer to see if I can help him, or do I just let him work his way through it?
Also, you have the manager that is the general down there, and Buck can say, hey, go out and chat with him. But obviously they're letting him run.
And now it's Segura, 1 for 4 in this series. He's hit in each of his last 10 games against the Mets. A huge thorn in the Mets' side, and a big chance in the first inning. And he swings and misses at a first pitch slider, 0-1. Segura, the one guy in the lineup who's had good numbers against Scherzer, 8 for 25 with a home run. So a moment of truth very early in this game for Max. Already 23 pitches deep. Schwarber at third, Harper at second, Castellanos at first. Dom playing in, the rest of the infield back. And Segura takes a fastball for a strike, and it's 0-2.
Good little dart. Slider away, fastball inside corner.
Well, with runners in scoring position, much like Jacob deGrom, Scherzer only gets better.
Over Max's 15 years in the big leagues, averages 2.4 walks per 9.
0-2 coming to Segura, and he just got a piece of that slider. Segura had the day off yesterday. Joe Girardi used Bryson Stott at second base. Stott's playing third today. Segura back in his accustomed spot. I wonder how often in his career Scherzer's walked 3 batters an inning. It can't be many. And again, he and Nito having trouble to getting together on the signs.
Oh boy. You got Max, who's all like a locomotive. He wants to get that ball. He's a quick. He works fast.
He's coiled like a spring.
Yes.
Oh, 2 coming, and Segura goes down swinging on the changeup. So Scherzer, as he did against the last 2 hitters, went to the changeup to try and get the strikeout, and this time he gets it for the second out.
Well, watch the movement, watch the sink, and Segura goes after it. So he's 1 out away from showing everybody, including Gary and I, why he's such a great pitcher.
You mean in his SNY regular season debut as a Met? That what you're talking about?
Yes.
Here's Didi Gregorius, 2 for 7 in this series. Bases loaded, 2 down, and Didi takes a strike. 96 on that fastball from Scherzer. So he's throwing a little harder than he did his first time out. He averaged 93.8 on his fastball in his first start against the Nats. Working on regular rest for this start today. Pitching on the 5th day. And Didi takes another fastball for a strike, and it's 0-2. So Scherzer's starting to find the range.
It's called bearing down, Gary.
We said it last night against Wheeler when the Mets failed to score after loading the bases in the first. You need to get to these guys early if you're going to get to them before they settle in. And Scherzer trying to keep that from happening. He's a strike away from getting out of a jam. 0-2 to Gregorius. And it's pulled on the ground down to first. Dom's got it. Scherzer to cover. And Max Scherzer gets himself out of first inning trouble. 3 walks. Leaves him loaded. Mets and Phillies no score after 1. Video highlights, live pitch by pitch, breaking news, player updates, stat leaderboards, and more for your New York Mets. Entertaining first inning. Nola and Scherzer each had tried to find themselves. Nola found himself quicker. Got out of it with a double play ball. Scherzer had to work around 3 walks. Pete Alonso leads off against Nola in the second. And Pete takes a fastball for a strike. Pete's got great numbers against Nola. 10 for 29, a .345 average with 3 home runs.
Pete off to a sluggish start, but he's been swinging the bat good. 5 for 25. Has yet to draw a walk here. Just a note.
And there's the good curveball by Nola. That's his signature pitch. Now he'll walk eventually, of course. No doubt.
There's the curveball, but the almost sidearm relief point, and he's able. You see the rotation of that ball. You would think him throwing that breaking ball that far sidearm, it would be like spin like a moon in an orbit around the equator. But
and a fastball on the outside corner. It was at the edge of the flat earth, and that's the first out.
Was I making myself clear there?
No.
Well, the equator. All right, let's look at the left side. It's a strike, too.
For sure.
Oh, yes, that's black.
So you were saying about moons on the equator?
The moon's revolving or orbiting around.
But what does that have to do with the equator?
It was all about his point of release. That was my point. You'd think it would be spin like a top.
Right.
You know, parallel to the ground. Is that better?
So you're saying he gets better vertical movement than you would expect from a sidearm breaking ball. Is that what you're trying to say?
One thing you must don't put words in my mouth.
I'm just trying to understand you. I'm trying to translate. It's like working with Eckersley. You know, it's a different language.
You think it would spin like this, but it spins like this. And he's out here. That's hard to do.
Eduardo Escobar takes outside a changeup, and it's 2-0. Check it, it's 3-0. So caught up in Keith's metaphors that I'm spinning out into outer space.
Space cowboy.
Escobar 1 for 6. Some people call me a space cowboy.
Stevie Miller.
There's ball 4. So these two control pitchers, who between them average less than 2 walks per 9 innings, well, they've walked 5 between them in a very short period of time to start this game.
Well, I'm glad Dom is going to get 4 ABs today. He's been the guy that's been sitting a lot. He and Guillorme. You can understand Guillorme more. But Dom has had limited opportunities, only 8 at bats, and it's good that he's getting in here and can get a good day's work.
1 for 8. They've got the full shift on against him, even in a double play situation. Escobar at first with 1 out. And Dom takes a fastball inside for ball 1.
Remember 2 years ago, Dom was one of the better, if not the best, breaking ball hitter in the league, and last year he regressed with the breaking ball. Nola with that curveball is going to break down into his zone where he likes it downstairs. So we'll see if Dom's up to the task.
You know, and it's tempting when you talk about Dom last year, particularly in his struggles against the breaking ball, to blame the torn labrum that he worked through. But he was struggling with the breaking ball early last season, even before he hurt his shoulder. But you can see the difference this year just with his follow through, that shoulder's feeling much better.
Oh boy, they're struggling here.
That's 6 straight out of the strike zone from Nola after he struck out Alonso on 3 pitches.
I like the lead that Escobar is getting at first base. Very aggressive lead. And he's not his base stealer, but
no.
Get a good lead. That might be one step that might get you to the second base or score.
Nola behind 2-0, and Dom gets a curveball and swings over it. 2-1. That is how good Nola's curveball is. He will throw it in any count to any batter.
It's just like I said. I'm just going to reiterate the point. Is that it's remarkable that he can get down tilt, throwing it that almost sidearm delivery.
Swings over a changeup, and it's 2-2.
LSU boy.
Born and raised in Baton Rouge. Stayed home to go to college. Followed his brother Austin there. He finally got to face Austin in a big league game last year. Austin with the Padres, and Aaron struck out Austin the first time he faced him. Austin a little older than Aaron, but it took him longer to get to the big leagues.
That would be very strange, wouldn't it?
Think about the parents. What do you do if you're sitting there in the stands watching your 2 boys go head to head? Did you see the other day when the Padres played the Giants, Tyler Rogers and Taylor Rogers, the twins, both pitched in the same game? Tyler got the win, or Tyler got the loss and Taylor got the save, or maybe it was the other way around. Anyway, they brought out the lineup cards to home plate, the twin brothers. They were the first twins to play in the same game in the major leagues since the Canseco's, Jose and Ozzie, back in the early 90s. That doesn't count, the Minnesota Twins, who are not actually twins, just represent twin cities.
I'm a little slow today. Didn't pick that up real quick.
2-2 to Dom. And the fastball in there for a call, strike 3. So Dom got had on the two-seamer by Nola, and that's his second strikeout.
Well, watch the movement. Started inside, and then it comes back. And you can see he freezes the hitter because it feels like it's coming at your hip, and you quit on it, and then it just kind of goes, excuse me, go grab some pine. Nice pitch.
So two-way. Escobar still at first, and now Marcano. And had a bloop hit in his first at bat in this series, and since then has gone 0 for 6 after getting off to a spectacular beginning. Batting average now slipped below 500. The Phillies, a team that did not shift much last year, but they are shifting against just about everybody early in this game. And that fastball catches the corner, and it's 0-2 to Canna.
A little generous call there.
We showed it on the graphic with the Phillies defense. Last year they shifted less than any team in the majors, but obviously a change in philosophy this year. Right side of the infield open for Canna. Maybe looking to go that way with 2 strikes.
It's a nice looking road uniform. Love that road uniform. Wish we had it when I played.
It's a classic.
Oh.
Went through a lot of machinations with those uniforms in the 80s and 90s, but they got back to uniform perfection. 1-2 coming, and Canna just got a piece of that one. Nola with 2 strikeouts in the inning. Last year, 223 strikeouts for Nola. Third time in his career he struck out 200 or more. Only 3 Philly pitchers in history who have more than 3 200 strikeout seasons. Steve Carlton, Grover Cleveland Alexander, and Jim Bunning. Hall of Famers all. Top foul, and it's still 1-2 to Canna. Steve Carlton had 7 seasons for the Phillies where he struck out 200 or more.
Well, that was an automatic. He was going to give you a 250, 270 a year.
Of course, he was pitching 270, 300 innings every season.
He had the beautiful motion, didn't he?
Not sure anybody's ever had a better season for a bad team than Steve Carlton had in 1972.
Traded for Rick Wise.
Phillies won 59 games that year, and Carlton won 27. Breaking ball hit up the third baseline. That's a foul ball. By Stott just outside the bag. I mean, think about what are the odds of being able to do that. Was he 27-9 for a team that went 59 and 103?
He was holding out for $100,000. An old man Bush, Augie, did not want to pay it, and Carlton dug his heels in and got old Augie all ticked off. He traded him to Philly for Rick Wise, who was making $100,000.
Right. So they were only 59 and 97 in 72. That's right. It was a shortened season because they had a strike at the beginning. And he went 27 and 10 with a week lopped off the season. It's just phenomenal.
No, they much like trading the Phillies were a bad ball club back then, trading them to Siberia. And he's one of the reasons why he turned his franchise around.
8th pitch of the at bat, and Canna lays off the curveball. So Canna having another one of these long at bats that are something of his trademark.
And we do know that Carlton, certain things happen. He met Gus, who was the conditioning coach. I can't remember Gus's last name, but he was in martial arts. And Carlton used to put his hands into a burlap bag of rice, and he would work his hands. And that's how he got his hand strength, and that's why he was able to grip that baseball and really get great rotation. Spin rate today.
Up off the right side. Camargo coming over right to the railing, and he makes the catch. Nicely done by Johan Camargo. First ever big league start at first base, and he handled that with no problem. A walk in, one left. Scherzer back to the mound with no score. Hall of Famers Steve Carlton, Roy Halladay.
Both numbers retired here, along with Robin Roberts, Richie Ashburn, and they retired Dick Allen's number.
Dick Allen, yep. Mike Schmidt.
Right.
And Jim Bunning.
Yes.
Speaking of pitching royalty.
Senator Bunning.
Johan Camargo leading off.
29 pitches for Scherzer, 15 strikes in that first inning. He labored, but I bet you he settles in now.
3 walks in the first inning for Scherzer. It's the first time he's walked 3 in any inning since 2017. And only the 6th time in his career he's had 3 walks in an inning. The 3rd time that he's done it in the first inning. 2.4 for his career, 1.8 walks per 9 innings last year. And that's a good curveball to strike out Camargo. And Nito slaps the tag on him. First curveball Scherzer's thrown, and gets him his 2nd strikeout. Well, we were talking earlier about Joe Girardi getting in Scherzer's head when they first started checking for sticky stuff last year. And this was some of the scene after the 3rd time that Girardi got the umpires to check. And it led to a lot of hard feelings, not only with Scherzer, but Kevin Long at the time was the Nationals hitting coach. And Girardi said to Kevin Long, "You want to fight?" The irony, of course, of that is that Kevin Long is now Joe Girardi's hitting coach.
Oh, well. Smoke a peace pipe.
And the 2 guys who knew each other from the Yankees, they went back a long way. Bryson Stott batting with 1 out, and the rookie third baseman foul tips one on the fastball from Scherzer, and it's 0-2. But it all stemmed from Scherzer taking off his cap and just wiping his hand through his hair. And at one point during that whole contretemps, he took off his hat, pointed to Girardi, and said, "It's just sweat. It's sweat."
Well, I know some guys that used to put a little KY or Vaseline in their hair.
Well, Gaylord Perry certainly comes to mind immediately. Of course, Gaylord would go through that whole routine before he threw every pitch, just to get in your head. He touches his sideburns, and he touches his cap, and he touches.
It was a thing of art. It was a work of art.
It was.
And it was a practice for him.
It worked for him.
Yep.
Whether he was loading it up or not.
When I was in grammar school, I'll be brief, my teacher was a baseball fan. I forget what grade I was in. Brought in you get the audio visual, right? The AV room, you get the TV in, and he brought a tape in. I don't know what it was. It wasn't, but it showed Gaylord in slow motion doing his routine with his cap.
Right.
And how he would lift his 2 fingers when he loaded up. He'd go through the gyrations, but he would never. The 2 fingers were elevated, weren't making contact. It was a thing of beauty.
Bryson Stott making his 4th start. Rookie from UNLV. He's played all 3 infield positions, 2nd, short, and 3rd already for the Phils. And fouls off that cutter from Scherzer, and he's doing a nice job keeping himself alive. Stott batting 8th in the order. Matt Vierling on deck. Max Scherzer, 3-time Cy Young Award winner, and 8 times has finished in the top 5 in the Cy Young balloting. And Stott takes that one just out of the strike zone. Scherzer, I think, was expecting that call from Adrian Johnson, didn't get it, and now it's 2-2. And Scherzer, after a long first inning, now has a 9-pitch at bat going with Stott. And he pulls one over the bag. That's a fair ball going down the line and off the sidewall. It caroms out to Marte. Stott trying for second. Marte's throw, and he got him! Starling Marte guns down Bryson Stott, trying to stretch a single into a double. That's why Buck Showalter wanted Marte in right field, for that arm, and Marte makes it pay off.
Well, a good at bat, and they're going to challenge here. It's down the line. It kicks out into right field. It's not a long throw, but look how quick he got rid of it. A one hop right to Lindor. Accurate throw and a good effort by, he's out, Stott there to stretch it. Just take a gamble.
And the Phillies will not challenge. You see the tag by Lindor on a bullet of a throw by Marte. Lindor dropping the knee in front of the bag to keep Stott from getting there. Matt Vierling swings through the fastball, and it's 0-2.
You slide in feet first. He won't drop that knee down in front of the bag, I guarantee you.
So that's the first hit against Scherzer today. What a 9-6 put out erases Stott, and now it's 0-2 to Vierling with 2 out, and he flares one foul. Vierling looking for his first hit of the year after a nice year coming off the bench for the Phils last year. Vierling hit .324 in 71 at bats last season. Notre Dame product. And the fastball blows him away, and Scherzer's got his 3rd strikeout. Helped out by Marte. Scherzer faces just 3 batters in the second. No score. Tomas Nido doing some conversing after that last half inning. It took them a little time to get on the same page back in the first. Meanwhile, Aaron Nola's worked around a couple of walks in the first 2 innings. As you look at the Spectrum Mobile high-speed pitch. Two guys trying to get settled in their second starts of the year. Jeff McNeil leads off for the Mets in the 3rd. Jeff took his first 0 for last night. Went 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. 7 for 19 to start the year. And like many of these Mets, has great career numbers against the Phillies. And he yanks one down the line, foul. Tomas Nido on deck, and then Brandon Nimmo for the Mets in the 3rd.
It's starting to get warm here. What a day.
Right around 80 degrees. May not be quite this warm Friday, but it looks like it's going to be a nice day for the Mets home opener.
All 3 weekend games are day games.
Changeup misses up and away, and it's 2-1. Looks like we have a bigger crowd tonight for the day game than we had for the 2 night games.
Well, that's the perfect day to come to the ballpark with this 2 pitchers right here.
But you know, people have work, people have school.
You know when you can take a day off.
I mean, you know, you and I, it's our job to be here. Perfect day to be at the ballpark, but people have other obligations. And yet, many thousands of them have found their way to South Philadelphia today to enjoy this beautiful day at the ballpark.
But it's also our obligation to be here.
Right. Which is good, because that's how, like, that money that arrives in your bank account every 2 weeks, that's how that works.
Direct deposit, thank you.
2-2 coming, and McNeil lays off the fastball, and it's just outside, and he stopped the swing. 3-2. It's like a 1-to-1 proposition. You show up at the ballpark, the money shows up on direct deposit. It's a heck of a good deal.
By the way, I got scammed this morning. I almost got scammed.
No.
Yes.
Tell?
I got an email with the FPL, which is Florida Power and Light logo, that said you did not pay a down payment of X amount of dollars, and we are going to turn off. We send a guy out today. If it's not paid within 30 minutes, we're going to shut your power down. 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
And I bit the hook.
You fell for that?
And I called the guy.
Segura gets in front of McNeil's ground ball. Go on.
I called the number like an idiot. And I'm listening to this guy, and then finally I snap. I said, I go, I know you were a monopoly. Okay, I've been here for 20-something plus years. I pay on time, and you're going to send a guy out and shut my power down in 30 minutes? That is baloney.
Can I ask you one question, Keith? The guy you got on the phone, was he a Nigerian prince?
No, he wasn't. He had a Spanish accent, and I just snapped on him.
Well, let me ask you a question. In the course of all of this, reading the email, getting a little nervous, calling the number, snapping on the guy, at what point did you realize that this was not actually Florida Power and Light
that I'm
threatening to turn off your electricity?
I've been a very dependable customer. I said, this is baloney. So I called my banking institution, and Lillian, as my representative down in Florida, and she just said, Keith, no. I had to pay through Zelle, and I never heard of Zelle, and it's really almost like Todd Zeal's spelling. It's Z-E-L-L-E. I go, what's Zeal? Zelle. I go, what the heck is that? You got to be kidding me. Then it kind of sunk in.
You know, unfortunately, these kinds of scams often get perpetrated on senior citizens like yourself.
I know.
I just don't expect you to be the one to fall for it.
Well,
2-2 to Nito, and I'm glad that at some point reality kicked in.
Well, it was early in the morning, and I just had one cup of coffee, and then I realized. But then I wanted to call FPL and tell them, and I go online for the FPL's number, and I contact us, and there's no number. So I said, the heck with
it's
it.
a lot easier to contact the scammer than the actual power company.
So anyway, enough of that.
2-2 coming to Nito, and he goes down swinging on a changeup running in on him, and that's the third strikeout for Nola. So 2 out. Brandon Nimmo coming up. Well, Nola, through age 28, second on the all-time Phillies list, right behind Cole Hamels. Chris Short, who was part of that 64 team. Remember they had Jim Bunning and Chris Short pitching on short rest.
Yep.
And blew that 6.5 game lead in the last 10 days of the season under Gene Mauch.
Art Mahaffey and Dennis Bennett were the others, right? And Ray
Nimmo
Cope.
slams one to deep right center field. Back toward the wall, and that ball is out of here. Brandon Nimmo, for the second straight day, provides the first run of the game with a home run. Second home run for Nimmo, all coming in the last 24 hours, and it's 1-0 New York.
Breaking ball. Home run last night on a changeup. This one on the curve. Stays back nicely.
Nola gave up 26 home runs last year, and he left that one up for Nimmo to crush. One last night was to straightaway right. This one way out in right center. It was really well struck. Lindor fouled out to left field his first time up. And Francisco pops one up. Stott, the only guy on that side. Can he get there? He cannot.
Oh, wow. He kind of pulled up. He could have had a shot at that.
Well, Bryson Stott pretty early in his big league career, and maybe didn't have quite an idea of how far he had to run before he got to the sidewall.
Well, he was way up the middle. Long way to go. I guess not.
It doesn't happen very often, but I'm sure that when they calculate all the possibilities of playing the shift, that's something that's got to come into play. An inability to cover that pop up in foul territory that prolongs it at bat. Nimmo's home run, 406 feet, 106 miles an hour exit velocity.
It's good to know.
You always want to make sure that you're informed. Starling Marte would be next. I always know we are a few games into the season when I hear the clack of your scorecards hitting the table.
Oh.
Swing and a miss. Lindor down on the high fastball. 4 strikeouts for Nola. Nimmo gives the Mets the lead with a home run, and that's no scam. Scherzer absorbed a regular season loss. Hasn't lost a start in his last 20 outings. Going back to before he was traded from Washington to LA last year. It's actually not the longest unbeaten streak currently active in the majors. Logan Webb, who had a breakout season for the Giants last year, has gone 21 starts now without a loss. Got the opening day starter for the Giants this year. Kyle Schwarber leading off in the home third. Scherzer working with the lead for the first time. Fires a strike to Schwarber, 1-1.
Well, he had a good comeback second inning. 29 pitches in the first inning, only 14 strikes, so he's found the target.
And curveball misses, and he's behind 3-1. He walked Schwarber his first time up. He walked 3 of the first 4 batters. What exactly is going on there? What was that? That's one of Fanatic's friends.
Yes.
And there's a strike. Exact same thing happened the last time. He was 3-1 on Schwarber.
Yeah.
He threw the exact same pitch. Schwarber started walking to first base, and Adrian Johnson called him back.
That was more of a strike than the first one.
Three-2 coming, and Schwarber pops it up. Long run for Escobar into foul ground. Looking through the sunglasses, he gets there and makes the grab. Not shaded as far over as Stott was on the pop-up that fell in the last half inning, but Escobar still had to scoot. And Schwarber retired, 1 away. And now it's JT Realmuto, who's flied out to right his first time up. Nationals and Braves playing an early day game today, and Josiah Gray has shut out the Braves over the first 4 innings. The first 5 innings now. It's 2-0 Nats in the 6th. Max Fried making his second start. Got roughed up his first start. Gave up 2 runs in the first inning today. Did you see what happened late in that Washington-Atlanta game last night? The Braves blew out the Nats last night, 16-4. Realmuto chases a slider, and it's 0-2. And late in the game, D. Strange Gordon took the mound for the Nats. Blowout game. They used a position player, and he threw a 52-mile-an-hour pitch that hit Travis d'Arnaud in the shoulder. And d'Arnaud, in comical fashion, went down like he had been shot. It was actually pretty funny. And then he popped right back up with a big smile on his face. And I think D shared the smile, but I'm not 100% sure.
I only got to face my whole career one everyday player in a blowout.
Good slider by Scherzer to strike out Realmuto. And that's 4 strikeouts for Max. 2 down.
Well, Max, after that first inning now, has found the range. That is just a wicked slider. And out in front, Realmuto, so he takes something off that pitch, too.
So who was the position player you faced?
With St. Louis, it was Tommy Hutton. He was with the Phillies. He threw me a 3-2 lazy breaking ball, and I hit a bomb into the gap off of it. We still laugh about it today.
They all count. There's no asterisk next to your home run total.
Right.
There's Harper, who walked his first time. It's going to be odd for these two to face off against each other. Longtime teammates in Washington.
Well, they love the fanatic. He's every much a part of the entertainment as the game.
There have been some years when he might have been more of the entertainment.
Yep.
That's trying to get out of town before Harper gets rolling. Cracks this one to left center. Over comes Nimmo with Canna. Nimmo calls, makes the catch. Scherzer's got his first 1-2-3 inning right after getting the lead. 1-0 Mets going to the fourth. Stream the Mets with the new SNY app. Watch live Mets games, pre and post game shows, and all SNY programming anytime, anywhere, on any device with an in-market TV provider subscription. The SNY app. Scan the code and download now. Fourth inning, Mets with a 1-0 lead. Starling Marte trying to drop a bunt, and he fouls it off. Marte grounded into a double play on the first pitch he saw in the opening inning. He's contributed with his arm, gunning down Bryson Stott, trying to stretch a single into a double. That was the only Philadelphia hit. The only Mets hit was a home run by Nimmo that gave the Mets the lead in the third. Marte, Alonso, and Escobar in the fourth, and that's it toward the hole. Nice diving stop by Didi from his knees, and it gets on by Camargo, and Marte is safe. Terrific stop by Gregorius. It'll be a base hit for Marte. Camargo, not an experienced first baseman, couldn't flag it down. I'm not sure if he would have been safer out had he been able to make the pick.
It was close. Nice backhand dive. Throwing from his knees. Camargo works up to down. See how he worked from the top down? That is a negative right there. You don't do bottom up all the time.
What happens when you put a third baseman at first base? Get it all backwards.
It's just like when you have giving a little shot of sake, bottoms up.
I hadn't thought about it that way. I was thinking more of square peg into a round hole.
Well, you can see Camargo go up and then down, and you just can't. He's got to do the exact opposite, from the ground floor to the penthouse.
It's always better than going in the other direction. Marte had a stolen base in the game last night. It led to a run. 47 steals last year to lead the major leagues. And Nola paying him close attention. Alonso took a call third strike his first time up. Right side of the infield wide open for Pete, and he launches one foul down the left side. Here you see the shift.
It's a little easier to turn to when the left side of the infield is in a pull as opposed to the right side, because when you're on the right side of the infield, the fielder's playing where the umpire is. He's got to run towards third base to get to the bag, and it's awkward being a right-hand thrower as opposed to where Segura is right now. Just has to run to the bag, and he's got momentum going towards first.
Well, the problem, as we've seen often since teams started shifting more prevalently, is when the ball is hit between the two middle infielders, because if they both go toward the ball, there's nobody to cover second base.
Yep.
And if you're that second baseman, you have to judge whether the shortstop has a chance to get it before breaking in the other direction to go to the bag, as opposed to in a normal infield configuration where your natural instinct is to go toward the ball, and that takes you to the bag. Now you have to work against your instinct. There goes Marte, and it's fouled back.
Good cut by Pete.
So Starling taking off on 0-2. Well, that's interesting. He's had a more successful rate against right-handed pitchers than he has against lefties. A lot of base stealers will tell you that lefties are either impossible to run on or easier to run on.
For me, it was lefties were easier to run on. But then again, I can always sneak it.
Yeah, they're not watching you
as closely. Right.
That's drilled down the left field line by Alonso, and that'll bury into the corner. Marte on his way to third as Castellanos digs it out. They're going to wave him home. Marte on his way home. Double clutch by Gregorius, and Marte scores. Timeout. Pete Alonso with an RBI double. Aggressive base coaching by Joey Cora, and the Mets have a 2-0 lead.
Well, Joey Cora, veteran third base coach, and he is tremendous. Changeup, sinking, and Pete got the barrel on it. The double clutch by Gregorius, and that's the difference.
I wonder whether he double clutched because Segura was so close to him. I mean, Segura is the backup relay man there, and he got right up into Gregorius.
You know, so many third base coaches that I see are so timid over there because they're so second guessed by the analytics people that it's good to see, refreshing to see someone. You're waving that runner home, Mr. Cora, and you're saying, okay, you've got to make the perfect relay throw, and you've got to make the perfect throw at home, and the catcher's got to make the tag. Throws off 5 feet, a double clutch, which you just saw. There's your difference.
One and one to Escobar. Normally you're more cautious with nobody out, but Joey took a chance and it worked.
There's the double clutch. And
I have to think that Segura being right there had something to do with Didi double clutching. I don't know. Couldn't have been surprised that Marte was trying to score. I'm sure they were yelling at him.
I mean, you're a fielder and you know it's going to be a close play, and the tendency is to rush it. You know, I was paying my bill this morning at the hotel, and I was in line with Mark Canna, and that relay throw the other night,
right.
I asked him, did you get a bad grip on the ball when you barehanded it off the wall? And he said, no, I had to run a long way there. I knew it was going to be close, and I told myself, gosh, do I have to rush it, or can I get set? He goes, and I rushed it.
He wound up bouncing the throw to Lindor, which allowed that run to score. It was the tying run in that 5-run 8th inning. 2-2 now to Escobar, who walked his first time up. If I'm Joey Cora, the reason why I'm sending Marte there is because Castellanos is not a particularly efficient left fielder, but Castellanos actually handled that ball really well and got it on target to Gregorius. That wasn't what cost the Phillies the play. Escobar tries to lay off, and he stopped the swing. Realmuto able to keep it in the neighborhood, and that keeps Pete from going to third. And now it's 3-2. Blocked by Realmuto. More gardening. By the way, let's not overlook Alonso getting that double on an 0-2 pitch.
I would like to have seen him on third base on the relay throw.
3-2 to Escobar with Dom Smith on deck. And Eduardo flicks one foul. Escobar walked his first time up today. He's already drawn 6 walks in the first half-dozen games he's played this year. Not normally known for his patience at the plate. He's never been a particularly high on-base percentage guy, but early in the year he has drawn more than his share of walks. Switch hitter batting left. And he tops that one foul on the changeup from Nola. Still 3-2. Aaron Nola last year made 32 starts. That in and of itself is a great accomplishment these days. You make a full complement of starts. but he did not have a good year. 9-9, 4.63. His strikeouts were up, his walks were down, but he got peppered with a lot of hits and particularly a lot of home runs. And that's inside, ball 4. And that's the third walk given up by Nola, the second to Escobar. So Escobar continues to walk at a prodigious rate.
That's a very fine at bat by Escobar.
And you see, talking about the innings pitched for Nola, 181 last year and more innings than anybody in the game since the start of his breakout season in 2018. So still nobody out in the inning with a run already home. And now Dom Smith will bat for the second time. Dom was called out on strikes his first time up.
Got the shift on Dom.
Good changeup by Nola to start him off. 0-1. Game in Atlanta is now in the bottom of the 6th. Nats have a 3-0 lead over the Braves. And the Braves still only have one hit. Josiah Gray out of the game after 5 innings. So the Nats have gone to their bullpen. And Dom fouls that one into the ground on the cutter from Nola, and it's 0-2.
Dom is trying to find it. He's off a little bit.
Canna on deck.
Canna very much the guy that pays attention to the details of his swing.
Nola last Friday made his 5th consecutive opening day start for the Phillies. Probably would not have been that way with a healthy Zach Wheeler, but Wheeler's spring was delayed, and so Nola got the honor for a 5th straight season.
Boy, oh boy.
And he's struggling right now.
That's 2 fastballs, only at 91 too, Gary, when Realmuto's trying to get up and in, and he's missing up and away, and he's also down in the velocity.
Through 76 pitches his first start against Oakland. He's up to 68 right now, and Joe Girardi's on the phone to the bullpen where there's already some stretching going on. Girardi got only 2 2/3 out of his starter Suarez on Monday, 4 2/3 from Wheeler last night, and there's strike 3 called as Dom gets caught looking for a second time. 5th strikeout for Nola, and that's the first out of the inning. So 1 away. And now Canna will bat with 2 men on. Mark had a long turn at bat in the 2nd inning and fouled out to first. A nice play by Camargo at the photo box railing. And a curveball hit him, and that loads the bases. Well, the Mets continue to be pincushions. That's the 8th Met to be hit in the first 7 games. Believe it or not, the Mets did not lead the league in getting hit by pitches coming into the day, as that one got him on the elbow guard. The Colorado Rockies had been hit 8 times coming into today. Ryan McMahon had been plunked 3 times himself. Caleb Cotham, the pitching coach, walking slowly out to the mound, and they'll get the bullpen busy. Mets have already scored a run in this 4th inning. Now they've got the bases loaded. Sir Anthony Dominguez gets up in the bullpen. It's a lot. The 8 and 9 hitters coming up. McNeil and Nito. All started with the infield hit by Marte. Alonso down in the count, doubled him in. Escobar walked, and now Canna hit by a pitch. Canna gets hit by a lot of pitches. Sometimes you wonder why certain guys get hit a lot.
I'd like to know how many times they're hit with 2 strikes. That would be something that would tell you that they're staying in a little bit longer. And going to mean if I go to the opposite field.
I mean, last year Canna got hit with 27 pitches, which tied for the most in the major leagues. So now McNeil with the bases loaded and 1 out. Jeff grounded out to second base his first time up.
Chance to break it wide open. In at the corners.
Jeff is 3 for 8 with runners in scoring position so far this season. And he takes first pitch fastball outside for ball 1.
Always love a situation when the bases are loaded and the pitcher's struggling and he misses the first pitch and you're 1-0. Puts the hitter in the driver's seat.
One and 1 to Jeff. Alonso at third, Escobar at second, Canna at first with 1 out.
Boy, I would be a little less inclined to bring that first baseman in at the corner. I'd let him play behind the runner.
23rd pitch of the inning for Nola. And McNeil pops one foul. That'll go out of play.
A little bit late on that one. Jeff wanted that one back. That was right down the middle.
And we'll cut to it. Well, I always say it's not how many you strike out. Sometimes it's when you strike them out. Nola could certainly use a strikeout right now.
Much like Scherzer did in that first inning.
Got the number 9 hitter Nito waiting on deck. 1-2 coming to McNeil. And he flicks one foul even after a high fastball. Nola got that one back up to 93.
Well, Jeff with 2 strikes gets a little more defensive and becomes more of a slap hitter with 2 strikes, particularly in an RBI situation. You see, he just kind of flung his bat at that ball to stay in the at bat.
Nola threw him a 4-seamer. A little more velocity. 1-2 coming. Curveball fouled off. Ball bearing in on him, and Jeff did well to get a piece of that.
A really good curveball. Jeff did a good job keeping the at bat alive.
Seemed like Nola had a lot of innings like this last year. Unlike his 2018 season when he just seemed to have easy innings inning after inning. And McNeil is hit by the pitch, and that forces in a run. Back-to-back hit by pitch. McNeil is plunked. Alonso comes in with the second run of the inning, and it's 3-0 New York.
Boy, he tried to make the pitch up and in. Jeff's on top of the plate. That got him on the wrist all right.
And that's going to be all for Aaron Nola. 2 hits, a walk, and 2 hit batsmen in this 4th inning. Mets have scored twice, and they've got the bases loaded. And Joe Girardi comes out to get his erstwhile ace. Nola out after 76 pitches. Sir Anthony Dominguez coming in. Called to the bullpen, brought to you by Nissan. Sir Anthony Dominguez makes his second appearance in this series. Comes in with the bases loaded to face Nito, who fouls back his first breaking ball. 0-1.
He got the win in the first game of the series, but came in as first batter and had an inherited runner that he gave up a base hit. That run was charged to Nelson, who did a wonderful job of relief that night.
2 runs are home in the inning. Escobar at third, Canna at second, McNeil at first with 1 out. Nito struck out his first time and moves back from a fastball from Dominguez. Aaron Nola, 3 1/3 innings, 76 pitches, 3 hits, 3 walks, 2 hit batsmen, 5 strikeouts, a home run. So far down 3-0 and responsible for 3 more. Mets have not had many days like this against Nola, who came in at 9-3, 3.12 against New York. Double play ball to short. Gregorius to Segura and on to first. And that'll do it for the Mets in the 4th. Dominguez comes on to get the double play, but the Mets score twice and lead 3-0 for Scherzer. MLB insider Andy Martino joins Connor Rogers and Joe DeMaio to discuss the rotation as well as options for help if injuries continue to hit the club, plus early thoughts on Buck Showalter so far. Subscribe and listen to the Mets Pod, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Beautiful look at Center City, Philadelphia on a gorgeous Wednesday afternoon. That's now with a 3-0 lead. And Castellanos drives the first pitch out to left. Canha will watch it go over his head and off the wall. Castellanos digging for second. Canha's throw just a shade too late. And Nick Castellanos, first pitch swinging, has a leadoff double. The Phillies' second hit of the day off Scherzer.
Third double of the year for Castellanos. High pitch. Around belt high. He likes that ball in. He can turn on that ball inside.
So the Phillies trying to fight back. Leadoff double for Castellanos, and here's Gene Segura, who struck out with the bases loaded his first time up.
That's a big strikeout.
That's flicked in the air, shallow right. That may fall in if it's fair, and it's just foul.
Oh.
That is a big break for Scherzer, as that ball missed the line by maybe a foot.
And that would have been a double, RBI double.
First base umpire John Tumpain right on top of the call, and it appears he got it right.
Well, Tumpain has had 2 foul calls in this series, Gary. Alonso's home run, he was a third base coach that he called foul, and this one just barely foul.
Well, he had a tough one in the second inning today on the ball Bryson Stott hit right over the bag. That was the play Marte threw him out at second. That was very close on a fair foul call. 0-1 to Segura, who was hit in his last 10 games against the Mets. And he takes the fastball just inside, a ball and a strike. Segura now 32 years old, 2-time All-Star. And he has always given the Mets fits. Gregorius on deck. Mets will head home after the game today. They've got their home opener Friday. They haven't announced Chris Bassett as the starter yet, but clearly Bassett is in line to pitch that game against the Diamondbacks. Zach Davies should be on the mound for Arizona. 1:10 start Friday.
Zach Davies, the one with the big curveball?
The one who looks like he's 12 years old.
Yes.
That's a good changeup.
Right. He pitched with Milwaukee, right?
Yes. Not their only Zach. They have Zach Gallen, who probably will pitch Saturday. Got pushed back because he cut his thumb trying to fix his sprinkler. That's a true story. Held off. That's just a little bit of what has plagued the Diamondbacks, who lost 110 games last year and have scored just 12 runs in their first 5 games this year.
Well, they're out in the desert out there. They do need sprinklers, Gary.
One-two coming to Segura, and bounces that one. 2-2. There are your 2 series coming up. The Diamondbacks at the bottom of the heap in the West, and the Giants, who won 107 games last year to win the West. Giants are 3-2 to start the season.
And the Diamondbacks are last in batting average. They are just struggling as a team offensively.
Giants made some history last night, not having to do with the outcome on the field. 2-2 on the way, and it's broken bat past the mound, charging Lindor. The glove and fire, safe.
Wow.
Lindor opting to use the glove rather than trying to barehand it. And it might have cost him the play. Segura beats it out for an infield hit. And the Phillies have runners at first and third.
He just beat it, and he hustled down that line.
Yep.
He got it. He got there.
So that'll get the tying run to the plate for the Phils with Didi Gregorius first and third and nobody out. Last night the Giants were playing the Padres and their first base coach Antoine Richardson was ejected, and Gabe Kapler sent Alyssa Nacken out to coach first base. First time that a woman has ever been an on-field coach in a major league game. As they'll play at first base again. Clearly Segura beat it. Gregorius grounded out to first base with the bases loaded in the first inning. And Didi sucks one down the right field line. It's hooking, and that'll go foul. Max could use a strikeout. Ahead 0-2. And Gregorius fouls off the fastball. 96 from Scherzer. About where he's topped out today. He's got that ability to dial it up when he needs a little extra. Castellanos at third, Segura at first with nobody out. And Gregorius lays off 1-2. Scherzer about to throw his 70th pitch. He threw 80 in 6 innings in his first start. He's going to work a little bit harder in this one. 1-2 coming. And he just got a piece. Catches his own foul ball. One-two from Scherzer. Got in the fists of Gregorius, but he's able to foul it back.
Hanging in there. A couple of tough at bats where hitters are really battling today, making the pitchers work.
They haven't hit yet, but this is going to be an outstanding Phillies offense. Seventh pitch of the at bat, and Gregorius takes outside. A little backdoor cutter that missed, and it's 2-2. Phillies are averaging just 3.8 runs per game. Only scored in 1 inning in this series. Shutout for the first 7 on Monday, got 5 in the 8th. They were shut out last night and to this point today. But threatening here in the 4th. 2-2 coming. And it's low. And this is with the changeup, and it's 3-2. So after Scherzer got ahead in the count on Gregorius, now he's gone to a full count. You got Segura at first, Castellanos at third with nobody out. Scherzer walked 3 in the first inning, very much against type. Now he's about to throw his 9th pitch of the at bat to Gregorius. And Didi goes down swinging. Here's a big strikeout for Scherzer. He went to number 1.
Not afraid to throw his fastball. And Didi, low ball hitter. Anything above the belt, he's going to have trouble. Under it. Look how much he steps in the bucket and off his back foot, leaning back.
Now Scherzer, who did not have a single swing and miss on his fastball in his first start against Washington, There's a little better hop on that fastball today, and he gets a big strikeout with it for the first out of this inning.
Got to put the ball in play. You're down a run there. The Phillies need. Got to get a run in on this inning. Left them bloated in the first.
Now it's Johan Camargo who struck out his first time up, and he takes a fastball at the knees for a strike. And Scherzer going to the A material here in the fourth inning when he gets in trouble. After giving up a double to Castellanos on the first pitch, and then the broken back grinder to Segura that wound up being an infield hit. Battles hard against Gregorius and then comes right after Camargo. Bryson Stott, the on deck batter. And Camargo gets jammed with that cutter and fouls it off, and it's 0-2. Stott, the rookie third baseman, next. Scherzer up in the count 0-2. And Camargo goes down swinging on the cutter. Back-to-back strikeouts for Scherzer. 2 men down.
Three-quarter delivery. See this little circle, little slider. Didn't really break in. It broke down. And he's 1 out away from pulling a Harry Houdini again. And that's why he's such a great pitcher.
He's got to get through Bryson Stott, who had the first hit against Scherzer, a single to right, got thrown out by Marte trying to stretch it into a double in the second inning. And a first pitch curveball misses outside, ball 1. Just don't know what to expect from Max. Four-seamers and cutters, sliders and changeups, and they don't throw that curveball just for a variation. Remember, he goaded DeGrom into throwing a curveball in spring training. He loves his arsenal. Throws the fastball by Stott, and it's 1-1.
Stott's just got a big old long swing. I mean, he's not that big a guy to be swinging for the downs here.
Stott last year hit 16 home runs in the minor leagues, batted .299 at 3 different levels. Just getting his feet wet in the big leagues.
Anytime you see a hitter swing and fall over the plate after he follows through, that's not good balance. And you see it a lot because they just swing from their shoelaces. It's just not good balance.
Scherzer up to 80 pitches. That's how many he threw in his first start. And Stott comes up empty on the cutter, and it's 2-2.
That was a slider that was hanging right there, but it's above the belt, and he's swinging right through it.
So Scherzer, after facing a first and third and nobody out situation, now 1 pitch away from getting through it. He's thrown 23 pitches in this inning already. Castellanos at third, Segura at first with 2 down. 2-2 coming to Stott. Liner to short, over the glove of Lindor and into left field, and the Phillies get on the board. Castellanos in to score, Segura to third, Bryson Stott with an opposite field single to drive in a run to cut the Met lead to 3-1.
Ball is down in the strike zone, going after him with a fastball, and that's where he likes it. But it's still, give him credit, that's good hitting right there. Nito was set up away, Gary, and he got the ball on the inner half, made a mistake. He's mad
when Scherzer was on the verge of getting himself out of a big jam. He's certainly disappointed at that result.
Fierce competitor.
Now the tying runs on base from Matt Vierling, who struck out his first time up, and he pops one up, and McNeil waits for it to come down. That retires the side, but the Phillies scratch a run against Scherzer. 3-1 New York after 4. Give up the 2-out, 2-strike hit to Bryson Stott, and despite getting the 3rd out and protecting a 2-run lead, he was not happy with himself.
Fierce competitor.
And he was not afraid to let people know it. Top of the batting order for New York as we go to the 5th. Brandon Nimmo gave the Mets the lead with a long home run to right center, his 2nd in 2 days. It came in the 3rd against Aaron Nola. Sir Anthony Dominguez on in relief, and Nimmo takes a strike. Dominguez came in through 3 pitches, got a double play ball from Nito to work out of a bases loaded jam to keep the Phillies in range in this game. And that could prove to be as important a piece of this game as there's been. It's a call strike to Nimmo, 0-2. Let's check in with Steve Gelb. Steve?
Well, Gary, I want to go back to last night for a second because we saw something really interesting in the game after Tyler McGill came out, where Chris Bassett sat with him for what seemed like 5-10 minutes, and they were looking at something on the iPad together. So I talked to both guys today to see what that conversation was, and what McGill said is that Chris Bassett was pointing out something about the Phillies at bats and the swings. And you take a look here at what Bassett was saying. That McGill's best pitch is the fastball up. And clearly the Phillies knew that and were cheating towards it. He was showing him, if you look at the Phillies swings, they were almost swinging up at the top of the zone. And so Bassett's advice was really start to work and try and hone that curveball, because that can become a significant weapon for you as more and more teams start to cheat towards the top of the zone. If you're able to drop that curveball in with some consistency, that's really going to throw them off. And so that was, in that moment, the message that he was trying to get across to McGill.
It's amazing when you have a veteran pitching staff like the Mets have, as Nimmo goes down on the fastball from Dominguez for the 1st out. I mean, you got guys like Scherzer and DeGrom and Carrasco and Walker and Bassett, who all have so much experience. And so you get a young pitcher like McGill, it's almost like he's in the lab.
It's a good mixture, a good balance of veterans and young players, but not so much like young players you think are 20 years old, just young as far as experience in the major leagues. And you learn from the veterans.
Well, McGill appears to have been learning his lessons well as Lindor takes a strike. I mean, his first 2 starts of the year, filling in for a multiple Cy Young Award winner. He has filled the bill as well as anybody could have hoped, with 10 1/3 scoreless innings, throwing 99 miles an hour with a nasty changeup. And if he does develop that curve as a 4th pitch, that would certainly make him even harder to hit. Lindor is fouled out and struck out 0 for 2. Dodgers are playing the Twins in interleague play in Minnesota. Clayton Kershaw on the mound today. Perfect game through 6 innings.
Ageless.
Speaking of great veteran pitchers, future Hall of Famer. One-two coming to Lindor, and he rockets one toward the right field corner. That ball is down for an extra base hit. Chased by Harper. Lindor to second. He's in standing with a 1-out double. Second double of the year for Lindor.
Breaking ball hanging right down the pipe. Don't do that to Lindor. That was a rocket.
So the Mets have their 4th hit. Lindor in scoring position with 1 out from Marte, who had an infield hit and scored a run in the 4th. And Dominguez jams him, but he held the swing in time. Ball 1. Marte got aboard and then raced home from first on a double by Alonso. Aggressive base coaching by Joey Cora. Generally, it's hard to score in this ballpark on a double to left field. Score from first base because it's just not that deep out there.
Right.
Damon Jones, one of the 5 left-handers in the Phillies bullpen. Phillies had 6 lefties in the bullpen yesterday, but they excised one today when they reactivated Corey Knebel. Knebel was on the COVID injured list for a day, but he's back active and would be their closer today.
You know, the left field fence, it's 334 down the line, which is good, but it doesn't bow out. It comes at right angles from the foul line, and therefore you have no gap. Remember, Gary, they had to move that 374 sign out in the alley. They had to move it further out because they had originally had a false number out there because it was embarrassingly short.
And Marte down on strikes as Dominguez blows one by him. Second strikeout for Sir Anthony Dominguez, and there are 2 out. Well, not only is it fairly tight in the gap in left center here as you look at that last fastball.
Little cutter.
But the prevailing wind here blows out to left center field. There's an opening in the stands where the concourse is, where the fans can walk behind the lower deck, and the wind blows right through that concourse and out toward left center field. And when the place first opened, balls used to just fly out of here.
And the Xfinity sign is really where the gap is.
As Pete Alonso drove in a run with a double his last time up, and takes a slider for a strike from Dominguez. He got an 0-2 pitch from Nola and crushed it into the corner to drive home Marte with Pete's 6th run batted into the season. He DHing today. Last time he DH'd, he had a grand slam in Washington. Pete has certainly made it clear that he's not all that fond of DHing. However, in order to get Dom Smith into the lineup and use Dom's tool as a defensive first baseman, it certainly makes sense for Buck to DH Alonso just about every time Dom's in the lineup. And in 2020, when we have the universal DH in the shortened season, he got some substantial at-bats as a DH. But he got his first career grand slam as a DH, so maybe that'll change his mind.
He's also a different hitter now. He's a veteran now.
Lindor at second with 2 down. Dominguez ahead 1-2 on Pete. Gets one in the air to left center field. Back in the gap goes Castellanos. Back near the wall, and it's off the fence. An extra base hit. Lindor will race on in. Alonso stands at second base with a towering double, and the Mets tack on a run. It's 4-1 New York. Alonso again coming through behind in the count and muscling one out to left center field for his second double and his second RBI of the day.
Breaking ball again. Stays inside. And Pete really just picks it off the ground, practically.
And that ball had a lot of carry to it. So Pete, twice behind in the count, twice able to drive in runs with doubles. Sir Anthony Dominguez is done. Damon Jones, the left-hander, will come in to face Eduardo Escobar. 4-1 Mets in the 5th. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Delta. We'll be right back to Philadelphia. Eduardo Escobar takes a strike from Damon Jones. Jones, a 27-year-old lefty who won a spot in spring training with an outstanding spring, gave up just 1 hit in 6 2/3. This is just his 3rd big league appearance. And he's quickly ahead on Escobar, 0-2.
2 innings of work against Oakland in that appearance. 2 base hits and a hit batsman and 2 earned runs.
1 game last year with the Phillies. Washington State product. Escobar has been up twice, walked both times against Aaron Nola. Now batting right-handed for the first time, down 0-2. And Jones tries to backdoor the slider and misses, 1-2. So Anthony Dominguez worked an inning in the 3rd. He's allowed a run on a hit. 2 hits. Thanks, Keith. Back to a breaking ball, misses, and it's 2-2. Phillies bullpen is loaded with lefties. Jose Alvarado and Brad Hand and Christopher Sanchez and Brady Falter. Of course, those rosters will be cut down May the 1st. And teams will be limited to just 13 pitchers on their staff. The Phillies are currently carrying 15 pitchers and the Mets are carrying 14. But it's the first time that Major League Baseball has ever had a rule, which will kick in May 1st, where they limit the number of pitchers that you can carry on your roster. Just 13 of the 26. Escobar flies one down the left field line back toward the corner, and Castellanos will watch this go foul. Aaron Nola started for the Phillies today, and he was erratic. 3 hits, 3 walks, 2 hit batsmen in 3 1/3 innings. Charged with 2 runs. 3 runs. You didn't correct me that time, Keith. I corrected myself.
I wasn't paying attention.
Still lost in the ether with your planets at the equator. 2-2 coming. And that's low and away, and a full count to Escobar. It's funny, you know, you have a certain impression of a hitter based on his past performance. Escobar has always been a rather impatient hitter, but this first week of the season he's been anything but. 8th pitch of the at bat coming to Eduardo, and he walks again. That is 8 walks for Escobar in his first 6 games of the year. 3rd time he's walked today, and that'll bring up Dom Smith with 2 men on.
Maybe the left-hander will help Dom. Usually when I was going bad, Garrett, I would prefer a left-hander because it makes you stay in, keep that shoulder in.
Just on Escobar, last year he had 599 plate appearances and he walked only 48 times. .314 on base percentage. Now he's averaging more than a walk per game. And Dom takes a slider downstairs for ball 1. Dom's been up twice, struck out looking both times against Nola. Met fans trying to get the Let's Go Mets chant going. Philly fans shouting him down. 2 on and 2 out. And Dom strokes one foul off the left side, 1-1. Dom getting the start at first base today. 3rd game he started of the first 7. Alonso at second, Escobar at first with 2 down.
This guy stinks.
Two-1 coming. Inside, and Dom is hit by the pitch. Can you believe this? The 3rd Met to be hit in this game. And that is now 10 hit batsmen in the first 7 games. It's an epidemic. And Buck is up on the top step of that dugout. We've already seen him charge out of the dugout once in Washington. He may be set for another charge of the Light Brigade. I mean, come on.
Oh, elbow. He's got the pad there, thank goodness.
Nola hit Canna and McNeil, his last two hitters, on his way out. And now Damon Jones, in just his third big league game, drills Dom Smith, continuing the trend that began in Washington. At least these weren't head high. So now Mark Canna has a chance with the bases loaded. He was hit by a pitch his last time up. Alonso now at third, Escobar at second, and Smith at first. And that's way outside. So Jones really struggling now. After drilling Dom, he nearly threw onto the backstop that Real Muto had to stretch for.
Oh, man.
Certainly understand why, in their wisdom, Major League Baseball expanded the rosters for the first 3 weeks. But when you have 15, or in some cases for some teams 16 pitchers on a staff, it means you've got some very inexperienced arms. And we have really seen that the first week in the season as Caleb Cotham takes a stroll out to the mound.
Well, we're getting into that back end, the front end of this Philly bullpen. And that last pitch right there from Jones, he goosed it. And that's why Caleb Cotham, the pitching coach, went out there, because you can't aim it. He's got to come with a strike here. And Mets are in a great position to bust this game wide open.
They had a chance to do it in the last inning. They had the bases loaded and 1 out with 2 runs already home. But Sir Anthony Dominguez came in to get the double play grinder from Nito. Now the Mets, with a run home here in the 5th, have loaded the bases again.
Surprised that Joe does not have anybody up in that bullpen with all those pitchers.
Well, his starters have gone short in every game in this series.
And this is the game's in the balance right now.
And Canna takes a strike. Ranger Suarez went 2 2/3 on Monday. Zach Wheeler went 4 2/3 on Tuesday, and Nola went just 3 1/3 today. And you can see the imbalance with the Mets having not, as of yet, retaliated against the Nats or the Phillies for all these batters getting hit. 2-1 to Canna. And he swings through that high fastball. So whatever Caleb Cotham said, it worked for Damon Jones, and he gets even 2-2.
Oh, sooner or later, if you're struggling, you gotta just try to throw a strike, throw a fastball. You got players out there, defenders. You walk people or hit them. Free passes, that's not good.
Bases loaded, 2 down, 2-2 to Canna. And Mark takes a slider low and away, and that'll run it full.
Well, he wants to throw a 2-2 changeup. And now he's behind the 8 ball here. 3-2 with the sacks intoxicated.
So the merry-go-round will be in motion. Alonso at third, Escobar at second, Smith at first will all be running. 3-2 coming to Canna, and he struck him out. Ran that fastball inside on Mark Canna, and the Mets leave him loaded in the 5th. They tack on a run, though, and lead 4-1 halfway through.
Mets up 4-1. Max Scherzer back on the hill for another inning. You hear the chants in the background. I don't know what's happened over the years, guys. Those used to be boos. Anyway, Max Scherzer is not going to hear any boos from these Mets fans. And we've seen the intensity, that classic Scherzer intensity, already multiple times today. We saw it at the end of that last inning where he was so annoyed that he gave up that RBI hit. But this is not something that just happens with Max Scherzer on the days that he pitches. I saw the intensity in spring training during bullpen sessions. I have never in my life seen a bullpen session like Max Scherzer throws a bullpen session. He's so demonstrative, talking to himself, yelling at himself. He was yelling at James McCann at one point early on, telling him exactly where he wanted him to stay on the plate, telling him not to move. Then he had bullpen catcher Eric Langhill standing up on either side of the plate so he could practice lefty-righty, lefty-righty. At one point, Scherzer missed a slider down and away. I thought he was going to be annoyed with himself, but he started yelling at himself. That's a great miss, man. Great, great miss. If you miss with that slider, obviously don't miss over the heart of the plate. That's just the type of intensity that we see from Scherzer at all times. Strikes out Schwarber right there. I remember thinking at the time, wow, a Hall of Famer this intense during a spring training bullpen session. And then later I thought to myself, well, that's probably why he's a Hall of Famer.
Certainly is a big piece of it. 7 strikeouts now as he got Schwarber with a changeup. And while Max is having himself a really nice day, it's another veteran pitcher having himself an even better one. Clayton Kershaw, 7 perfect innings in Minnesota. There's JT Realmuto. Kershaw has struck out 13 in those 7 innings. He's thrown only 80 pitches, but we are told it appears that he is coming out. He got hugs in the dugout after finishing off the 7th inning. Boy, that's I don't know if it's Kershaw's decision or if it's Dave Roberts' decision, but you would love to see him get a chance for some further immortality. You don't get chances for perfect games very often.
It's too bad it's April, not May, June, July, or August.
I mean, it's not like he has 110 pitches. He's at 80. You get a quick 8th inning, and maybe he's got a chance. That's lined the other way by Realmuto through the vacant part of the infield. And Realmuto with an opposite field hit, the 5th hit against Scherzer. And for Realmuto, his 6th hit in 53 at-bats against Max. So 1-out base runner for the Phillies. That's going to get the bullpen cranking now, with Scherzer up to 90 pitches. Max threw 80 in his first start.
Yeah, they'll have Ottavino ready and rested.
That's Sean Reed Foley getting up.
Reed Foley showing some confidence.
Well, Ottavino certainly is a prime candidate to work today.
He's a little bit later in the ball game
after he was held last night. Talking to Buck Showalter today about what has been his tendency to let relievers go out for a 2nd inning, and Buck's contention is that he's not pushing guys. He's letting them do things that they are perfectly capable of. Harper lifts it out to left. Canna back on the warning track, feeling for the wall, and he makes the catch right at the fence. Harper making an opposite field bid and coming up just a little shy for a long 2nd out. Nicely handled by Canna. Not all that familiar with this ballpark and its short dimension to left field. Feeling for that wall as he went. So 2 out now, Castellanos. And what Buck said about letting his relievers go an extra inning, he did it with Jason Shreve on Sunday. He did it with Trevor May on Monday. He did it with Drew Smith last night. He said this way we have more guys available the next day.
Right.
And in this case, Ottavino, who would be available maybe for a multiple inning stint. Certainly not in the 5th, but sometime a little bit later.
Well, that 1 inning at a time for relievers was brought on by Tony La Russa. Good fastball by Scherzer, by Tony La Russa, and Bobby Cox with Atlanta. And I always was wondering, why can't they go 2? But I agree with Buck.
I mean, if you go multiple innings with a player, with a relief pitcher, it's less likely you can use them the next day. So it's really, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, right? You lose that guy for the next day, but maybe by going 2 innings, you get 2 innings out of somebody else the next day. So Different managers are going to have different philosophies on that, but the more that your relievers are capable of going that second inning, the more flexibility it gives you. 1-2 to Castellanos, and a breaking ball popped up on the right side. Dom Smith waiting for it to come down, and that retires the side. Scherzer works through the fifth. He's probably done for the day at 90+ pitches. He's got a 4-1 lead as we go to the sixth. The last pitcher to be pulled after 7 innings of perfect game baseball was Rich Hill, also with the Dodgers back in 2016. He was dealing with a blister issue at the time, though. So, you know, there are certain things in baseball that you just relish, and one is seeing a pitcher with an opportunity to make some history. And I understand pitch counts, and I understand that, you know, Clayton has had some physical issues and he's an older pitcher, but boy, you would love to see him get a shot at him. But not today. Sixth inning, 4-1 New York. Jeff McNeil leads off. He was hit by a pitch to force in a run his last time up. Now facing lefty Damon Jones, who misses away with a slider for ball 1. Max Scherzer done for the day. 96 pitches over 5 innings. He allowed just a run on 5 hits. A clap on the back for his catcher Tomas Nido. Took them a while to get on the same page. Jeff barely avoids getting hit again. Mets have already had 3 batters hit by pitches today, 10 in the first 7 games. They were not leading the league going into the day. They are leading the league now. Nido on deck, and then Nimmo for the Mets in the 6th. Damon Jones, the 3rd Phillies pitcher. This is with a fastball away, and it's 3-0. Aaron Nola went 3 1/3, allowed 3 runs, 3 hits. Sir Anthony Dominguez, an inning and a third, 1 run, 2 hits. Pair of RBI doubles for Pete Alonso, a home run for Nimmo. Mets have had just 5 hits, but they've made the most of them. They had only 3 hits last night, and they won the game. That doesn't happen very often.
No. You need a shutout when you get back in.
Mets had not shut out the Phillies in Philadelphia since 2017. Shut them out for the first 7 innings Monday, and they shut them out for 9 innings yesterday. Scherzer allowed just the 1 run today. McNeil spanks one to left, but right at Castellanos. And that's the first out. Well, once again, it's Chris Bassett doing the debriefing. No iPad this time for Bassett. Don't think he needs to do quite as much instruction with Max as he did with McGill after Tyler started last night.
Communication is wonderful.
Bassett should have the ball in his hand at 1:10 on Friday afternoon when the Mets host the Diamondbacks in the home opener. Here's Nido, who struck out and grounded into a double play, and he takes a sinker out of the strike zone. Chris Bassett was just wonderful in his first start against the Nationals on Saturday.
He looked in mid-season form. He's got so many pitches, and he just commanded all of them.
It's almost like he's a pitcher / pitching coach. He said he doesn't like analyzing his own pitching performances as much as he likes analyzing those of his teammates. These pitchers, they all gravitate together.
Well, it's good to see David Peterson now. It's the second time that that conclave there that he is. It's
a lot of knowledge to absorb if you're a young pitcher, right there.
Exactly. Paying attention. That's Carrasco too. So it's the same. It's the same 4. So it's the 4 Musketeers with D'Artagnan in there.
Up the middle, and Nido's got a base hit. So Tomas Nido with a 1-out single. And the Mets have their 6th hit of the afternoon. No shift. good result. Nationals beat the Braves today 3-1 behind Josiah Gray. Went 5 innings and allowed just 1 hit. So the Braves are now 3-4 on the year, as are the Nats. Connor Brogdon, who pitched last night, is up again in the Phillies bullpen. Here's Nimmo, who got the scoring started for the 2nd straight day with a home run. Nimmo cranked one to right center field against Aaron Nola in the 3rd inning. Last night he smashed one to right against Zach Wheeler to open the scoring. He did the same today. One to Brandon. Well, the Mets starting pitchers coming into the day had a 1.20 ERA, and that will go up with Scherzer allowing 1 run in 5 innings. That's how good they've been. I mean, we asked the question right from opening day, how would the Mets starting pitching fare with Jacob deGrom on the sidelines? And the answer through the first week of the season has been spectacularly. Off the plate to Nimmo, and it's 3-1.
5-2 road trip to start the season would be quite nice.
They lost Taijuan Walker along the way to some bursitis in his shoulder, so he'll miss at least a couple of starts. Buck Showalter said with Walker going on the injured list yesterday that not only will he miss a start on the IL, but that he'll need a couple of rehab starts probably to get himself ready, since he hasn't thrown many innings. Nimmo walks for the 2nd time today. But McGill has filled in for deGrom. Peterson came out of the bullpen to fill in for Walker, and so far so good. Last year the Mets were just about 500 against the division. 3-1 so far this year against the Nats, and trying to go 2-1 against the Phillies. Joe Girardi's on his way out to the mound with Lindor and Marte and Alonso coming up. He wants a right-hander. So Damon Jones is done after 2/3 of an inning. Another pitching change. We'll be right back. Connor Brogdon will be the 4th Philadelphia pitcher of the day. He worked last night 2/3 of an inning, gave up a hit to Francisco Lindor that drove in a run, and he's brought in to face Lindor for the 2nd straight day. Let's have 2 aboard with 1 out, a chance to build on this 4-1 lead. Lindor doubled and scored a run in the 5th inning. And goes after the first pitch. It's a double play ball to Segura. Gregorius with a turn, but not in time. Lindor hustling down the line, beat it out to keep the inning alive. So it's a 4-6 fielder's choice erasing Nimmo. Nito goes to 3rd, and Marte will come up with runners at the corners. Starling is 1 for 3, had an infield hit and scored a run in the 4th. It's loaded the bases in the 4th. They scored twice. They loaded the bases in the 5th. They scored once.
Well,
Connor Brogdon working for a 2nd straight day.
They've had a couple chances to really blow this game wide open and just haven't been able to get the big hit. And the Phillies are within striking distance.
It's only the top of the 6th. And working at a leisurely pace. And Marte takes the slider off the plate for ball 1. You got all day, don't you?
Yeah.
You're not going anywhere.
Well, no.
I mean, I heard you say that you needed to get home to do laundry.
Well, that's tomorrow.
But yeah, you got the whole day tomorrow. Marte blips one toward the middle. That's into center field, a base hit. Nito's in to score. Lindor will go to 3rd. Marte with just enough to get that through the middle of the infield for an RBI single to make it 5-1 New York.
This is just raw strength right here. Tied up inside, off the label, and just muscles it up the middle. Segura almost makes a nice play here.
If he gets that, he's probably not going to throw out
Right.
Marte anyway.
Right.
So Marte drives in his 5th run of the year. Mets have scored in 4 straight innings now. Pete Alonso has been responsible for 2 of the runs. A pair of RBI doubles for Pete. Both times behind in the count. Once against Nola, and then the last one against Sir Anthony Dominguez. Now facing Brogdon, and he takes up and in for ball 1. Pete flied out against Brogdon last night. 1 for 4 in his career against this right-hander. That's now with 7 hits on the day.
Pete chased a high one there. He knows it.
Breaking ball down, 2-1. You know, we talked earlier about Buck Showalter flipping Lindor and Marte in the batting order and putting Lindor 2nd and Marte 3rd today. I wonder whether one consequence of that, though, is that it takes the stolen base away from Marte hitting in front of Alonso.
I am not inclined to think so, Garen. We talked about it earlier before the game. I mean, you go back to those. I mean, I know it's a different game today, but the '80 Cardinals, when they got Jack Clark to hit a cleanup, that didn't stop Ozzie Smith and Vince Coleman and Tommy Herr from stealing bases. And you know what? You got a righty on righty with Escobar, the switch hitter, behind. Are they going to walk the bases loaded with a righty-righty? I just don't think so.
I think it's more that you don't want to risk running yourself out of an inning with Alonso at the plate.
Well, there's 2 outs, right? So that's why he's not stealing. But
right, but if he's batting in front of Lindor with 2 outs, you're more likely to let him steal a base than if he's sitting in front of Alonso with 2 outs, right?
yes, I like Lindor in the 2-hole. I really do.
Two and two to Pete. Hits one in the air to deep right center field. Back goes Vierling onto the warning track. Back at the wall. It's out of here. Pete Alonso with a 3-run opposite field home run to break this game open. It's 8-1 New York. 2nd home run of the year for Alonso. A 5 RBI afternoon. And the Mets get the big hit and lead it 8-1.
Well, you just felt it was a matter of time here. Fastball away, and look at Pete go right with it, not try to pull it. They've had their share of opportunities, and now they finally cashed in. And Pete now, my goodness, what a day. 5 RBI day, gives him 10 on the year.
Alonso with 2 doubles and a home run. 5 RBIs in a 3-inning span. And now the Mets 7 runs to the good. Escobar flicks one out to left. Castellanos comes on a few strides. And that's the 3rd out, but not before Pete Alonso crashes a 3-run homer. Mets lead 8-1 in the 6th.
The Polo Grounds came to life once more. Familiar old faces showed up in new uniforms. The uniform of the Mets, the baby of the expanded National League. Here was a baby the fans fell in love with at first sight. Sure, a somewhat awkward baby, but a baby destined to be adopted by over 1 million somewhat sentimental fans who wanted a baby for their very own.
Well, the Mets are going to play their home opener at Citi Field on Friday. Today is the 60th anniversary of the Mets' first home opener in their first home at the Polo Grounds. Sherman Roadblock Jones started that first home game for the Mets.
Is that John
on
McGraw?
April the 13th in 1962.
Look at that.
Those are some very old pictures of the Polo Grounds when the Giants played, and they're a better look from when the Mets played there. Up in Upper Manhattan, right across the Harlem River from Yankee Stadium. Shaped like a horseshoe. After all, it was the Polo Grounds. Very short down the lines, very deep to center field.
Yes. Only 3 guys hit a home run to center field. Lou Brock,
Joe Adcock, and
Aaron.
Was it Aaron or Mays?
Not sure. I think it was I don't.
You're probably right.
I think it's Aaron.
Sean Reed Foley on to pitch for the Mets as we go to the bottom of the 6th.
Well, there's Sean's numbers right there. He hasn't pitched in 4 days, so he's good and rested. He pitched the second game of the season. Had himself a nice inning, and this is a good time to get him out there and get him some work.
Gene Segura leading off in the home 6 for the Phils. And takes a slider for a strike from Reed Foley.
Well, the Mets finally cashed in with all the opportunities that they've had. They left in the 4th and 5th inning. The bases loaded twice. Not this time last inning.
The 8 runs, a season high for New York, and now Segura is hit. And who knows what the intent was, but it's been a long time in coming that an opponent gets plunked. Mets have been hit 10 times in the early going. That's only the 2nd opposition hitter to be hit, and Segura bore the brunt of it. 3 times today, Met hitters have been hit by pitches.
Did that get him in the wrist?
I think it did. Wrist or forearm.
Got him. That got him on that ulna. Oh, the ulna bone. That hurts.
Testing out the grip strength for Segura to see if he's going to be okay to stay in this game. Fun when the trainer squeezes your arm like that. You just got hit.
I guess if you squeeze and it's broken, it's going to hurt. It's going to bark.
It's not going to hurt anyway. And let's see, is he coming in?
It's 8
yeah, he's coming out.
It's 8-1.
Yep. And the Mets are familiar with this scene, having a player have to walk off the field after being struck by a pitch. Well, we see Alec Bohm as a pinch runner, I would think.
Where's Alec?
Nope. Yep, there he is. All of a sudden, Alec Bohm's a folk hero here in Philadelphia. It's funny how those things work, right?
Yeah.
He had the worst night of his life. Said words that would get you in hot water with the fans 100 times out of 100. That all he had to do was stand in front of his locker and apologize, and he gets a standing ovation.
Yep.
And it's a great lesson for anybody in the public eye.
Agreed.
Everybody makes mistakes. If you mess up, just own it and say you're sorry.
Yep.
Without having to be prompted. And it's amazing how much goodwill you can get from that act. Didi Gregorius has grounded out and struck out 0 for 2. And Reed Foley falls behind him 2-0.
He needs to throw strikes.
Got a 7-run lead. Max Scherzer went 5, a lot of run on 5 hits, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts, 96 pitches. In line for his 2nd win of the year.
Oh, and almost
Reed
got
Foley
him.
misses badly with the breaking ball. He's throwing 2 old breaking balls with a 7-run lead. Scherzer, at worst, will carry his unbeaten string through a 21st consecutive start, leaving with the big lead. And Gregorius draws a 4-pitch walk. And he's going to get, Reed Foley is, an immediate visit from Jeremy Hefner. So a hit batsman followed by a 4-pitch walk. And Reed Foley, in his 2nd outing of the year, starts with a bobble. Max Scherzer, 5 very good innings, 7 strikeouts after a difficult start. He walked 3 of the first 4 batters, but worked around that trouble and staved off the worst of the Phillies' attack. Big night, big day for Pete Alonso. 3 extra base hits, 2 doubles, and a home run. He's driven in 5, 1 shy of his career high.
Pete is flourishing in the DH role, Gary.
That's a good point. Hit the grand slam last time he DH'd, 5 RBIs today. Maybe he'll warm to that role. There's Johan Camargo with 2 men on. It's a final in Minnesota. The Dodgers beat the Twins 7-0. 7 perfect innings by Kershaw. Bullpen gave up a hit in the 8th. It wound up a 1-hit shutout for LA. Ball to strike to Camargo. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of questions for Dave Roberts after the game, and for Kershaw as well, as to why he wasn't allowed to at least give it a shot. You know, you can almost understand it more with a young pitcher that you're trying to protect. That's driven toward the left field corner by Camargo, and that's going to be down for an extra base hit. That'll bring in Bohm. Gregorius trying to score as well. He'll come home. It's a 2-run double for Camargo. And here come the Phillies fighting back. It's now 8-3.
But when you're struggling to throw strikes, you got to come in. You got this fastball up on the outside part of the plate. A hanging slider. And Camargo goes right with it.
Call on the field is a fair ball. New York is
The Mets are challenging whether that was a fair ball. Fair or foul? What do you think?
Foul.
Well, that's a foul ball.
How can an umpire miss a call like that?
That's a foul ball. They're going to call this one back.
How can you miss that call?
Third base umpire Marvin Hudson made the call. He and Adrian Johnson, the home plate umpire, are on the headsets. And I think they're going to take these 2 runs off the board. Dan Iassogna and Ted Barrett are the umpires in the replay center in the city. And we should get the announcement momentarily. Fair foul calls in the outfield are fair game for review. Fair foul calls in the infield are not. I've seen a lot of these over the years of replay, but this one clearly appears to be a foul ball.
No doubt.
Not hit any chalk.
No doubt.
Left a mark outside the line, and frankly, it's taken longer than I would have thought for them to figure this one out. Camargo is likely to lose a 2-run double. Here we go.
After review, the call is overturned. We have a foul ball. The count is 1-2.
So the Mets win the challenge. 2 runs taken off the board. And Camargo will come back to the plate with a 1-2 count. I'm trying to think, in all the years since they put the replay system in, have we ever seen a fair foul call overturned like that? I don't think so. So it reverts to an 8-1 game. And Camargo, who thought he had his first 2 RBIs of the season, now has to step back in with a 1-2 count. Bohm back to second. Gregorius at first with nobody out. And Reed Foley back to work after the review. And Camargo slaps one over the bag. That's just foul. Almost hit the line again. Marvin Hudson, the third base umpire and crew chief, made the fair foul call. Camargo getting the start at first base today. Rhys Hoskins getting the day off because of his poor numbers against Max Scherzer. And Camargo has struck out both at bats. And he makes contact with that breaking ball and fouls it back to stay in there at 1-2. Bryson Stott, the rookie third baseman, has had a good day at the plate, waits on deck. Phillies have just 5 hits, but they've got a couple of base runners here in the 6th on a hit batsman and a walk against Reed Foley. And Camargo pulls one. That's through the hole, a base hit. Bohm to third. He'll stop there as Marte fires it into the cutoff man. And the Phillies have the bases loaded and nobody out. So Camargo, who thought he had a 2-run double, settles for a mere single. And the Phillies in business trying to come back in this game. Wally Rodriguez will go to work in the Mets bullpen with an eye toward the top of the batting order, with Schwarber 2 batters away. Right now, though, it's Bryson Stott. He's already 2 for 2. Drove in the only Phillies run with a 4th inning single. Bases loaded, nobody out. And the breaking ball in for a strike, 0-1. Stott singled to right in the 2nd inning, but was thrown out trying to stretch by Marte. And then he singled into left center to drive in a run in the 4th against Scherzer. After Max had gotten 2/3 of the way toward getting out of a big jam, striking out Gregorius and Camargo, only to see Stott come up with a 2-strike hit to drive in a run. Nothing and 2 to Stott. Bohm, the pinch runner at third. Took over for Segura, who got hit on the wrist by a pitch. Gregorius at second. Camargo at first with nobody out. When Reed Foley came up last year, he was very fastball reliant. Appears as though he is trying to work a lot more sliders and changeups in his 2 outings this year. Last year he threw his fastball 64% of the time. It's not been the case in this game. There's the fastball, and it misses up and away, 2-2. In his first outing, he threw his fastball only 33% of the time, so half as much as he had last year. And it's been pretty much the same notion in this game. 2-2 coming to Stott. Fouls off that breaking ball.
We need to get.
Again, the 2-2. Off the fist to short. Circling in is Escobar to cut it off. He gets the out at first as a run comes home to make it 8-2.
He got him, just got him by a half step.
Outstanding play by Escobar to cut that ball off. Hit right off the fists by Stott.
He got jammed. Nice spinorama, as you would say, Gary, and a stretch by Dom. Got him.
Got him by an eyelash. So Stott has driven in both runs for the Phillies. Bohm comes in to score. Gregorius to third. Camargo to second, and now here's Vierling, and he fouls off the first offering from Reed Foley. Matt Vierling is 0 for 2, struck out and popped up against Scherzer. Infield back with a 6-run lead. Second and third, 1 out. And Vierling chases the slider from Reed Foley, and it's 0-2. Matt Vierling has played the majority of the center field through the first week of the season for the Phillies. They're without Mickey Moniak, their former first-round draft pick, who broke his hand right before the end of spring training. He was tabbed to be their center fielder. Grounder to short, that'll score a run. Lindor will get the out at first. Gregorius comes in with the second run of the inning, and that makes it 8-3. So Vierling gets an RBI on the ground out, and now there are 2 away. Camargo went to third.
Well, they got those 2 runs back, Gare.
Buck Showalter will bring in the left-hander to face Kyle Schwarber. Mets with an 8-3 lead as we play in the bottom of the 6th. We'll be right back to Philadelphia. Foley, frustrating inning. Charged with a couple of runs after hitting a batter, walking a batter, giving up a base hit. Now Joely Rodriguez will try and get the final out in the bottom of the 6th.
Third appearance for Rodriguez. Gave up the home run to JT Realmuto in the first game of the series.
We apologize for the missed spellings. That's the second pitcher that we've had come into the game where they've substituted an A for an I in his name. We had it with Dominguez, and we have it as well with Rodriguez, and we can't explain why that is. It's a computer glitch.
I've never seen that spelling. I looked at it and I got confused.
It's not correct. It's Rodriguez, conventional spelling, but apparently the computer has substituted an A for an I. Why that is, we'll have to ask Siri or Alexa, or somebody knows much more about these things than we do. Kyle Schwarber 0 for 2 in a walk. He's 0 for 10 in this series. Rodriguez faced him in the opening game of the series, got him to hit into a fielder's choice. He was able to get the lefties out in that appearance, but gave up a 2-run homer to Realmuto, who's on deck. And a swing and a miss at a fastball, and it's 0-2 to Schwarber. Camargo at third with 2 out. And Schwarber fouls one away. Sean Reed Foley, 2/3 of an inning. Been charged with 2 runs so far, and responsible for the runner at third. Tell you what, that Pete Alonso 3-run homer at the top of this inning is looming awfully large right now. 0-2 coming, and Schwarber just got a piece of the slider to hang in there.
This afternoon's attendance 31,190. 31190.
Again, the 0-2 to Schwarber. And he struck him out with a slider. Joely Rodriguez comes in to put down Schwarber and put an end to the bottom of the 6th. 8-3 New York. All right, thanks, Sal. We go to the 7th. Changes for the Phillies. Alec Bohm, who pinch ran after Segura was hit by a pitch, stays in at first base. Grayson Stott moves from third to second. Johan Camargo moves from first base to third base. And the volatile left-hander Jose Alvarado will come on to pitch for the Phillies.
Oh, we know all about him. Big, hard thrower. That's the perfect matchup here.
Well, they have had their run-ins before. Thomas not only won at bat against Alvarado, but he got involved in quite the pointing and shouting match with Alvarado after some bad blood between these teams last year.
Well, he's thrown the most last year, 100 miles or plus pitches, but he's in the National League, and he's also a little wild.
Averaged 99.4 on his fastball last year, and his first one here at 98 in for a strike. Dom, one of 3 Mets to be hit by a pitch in this game. He's also struck out twice. Sean Reed Foley hitting Gene Segura. So there have been 4 batters hit in this game. And a fastball strike, and it's 0-2, 100 miles an hour from Alvarado. Alvarado, the 5th Philadelphia pitcher of the day. He's now 26 years old. He was in 64 games for the Phillies last year. 47 walks in 55 2/3 innings. It's a lot of walks. But throwing nothing but strikes here, and he fans Dom on 3 pitches. And there's the first out in the 7th.
Fastball in off the plate.
So 1 out and nobody on. Now Marcana, who's gone 0 for 2 today, and he's been hit by a pitch. Marked just 1 for 9 in this series after a fantastic first series in Washington. And he hits a ground ball right at Gregorius, and Didi handles it with no problem. 2 out. By the way, if you're wondering about Bohm at first base, he's played there some before. He started 3 games there last year, so he's not completely inexperienced. Bailey Falter, the next man up in the Phillies bullpen. He can throw some lefties at you out of that pen.
They certainly can.
Here's McNeil, who's 0 for 2. He was hit by a pitch with the bases loaded to force a run in the 4th. Nets have scored in each of the last 4 innings. 1 in the 3rd on Nimmo's home run, 2 in the 4th, 1 in the 5th, and then 4 in the 6th, capped by Pete Alonso's 3-run homer. Pete's driven in 5 of the Mets' 8 runs with 3 extra base hits today. And Alvarado buries that one in the dirt. Ball 1. Jose Alvarado listed at 6'2", 245 pounds. He's every bit of that. On the ground to his right is Stott, and his throw takes care of McNeil, and so Alvarado has the first 1-2-3 inning of the day for any Phillies pitcher. Stretch time, 8-3 New York. Mets with an 8-3 lead. Joely Rodriguez, who came on to get the final out in the 6th, will stay on to pitch in the bottom of the 7th against Real Muto, Harper, and Castellanos. Adam Ottavino is up in the Mets bullpen. Rodriguez faced one batter in the 6th, so coming back for the 7th, he has to face at least 2, but that's the game plan because he's in there mostly to face Harper versus Real Muto, who homered against Rodriguez in the opening game of the series, and he takes ball 1. Well, we were talking about Clayton Kershaw and the fact that he was pulled after 7 innings working on a perfect game today in Minnesota. And it appears from Clayton's post-game quotes that he was on board. He said, those are individual things. Those are selfish goals. We're trying to win. I've thrown only 75 pitches in a sim game. I hadn't gone 6 innings, let alone 7. So it sounded as though it wasn't necessarily Dave Roberts pulling him as much as Kershaw being aware that there was no way he was going to go past those 80 pitches.
And you mentioned earlier, Guerra, that Kershaw is getting older now and has had some injuries, so you want to nurse that. Shortened spring training.
And it's a shame, because from a fan standpoint, there is nothing better than watching a pitcher trying to throw a no-hitter, much less a perfect game.
Perfect games are so rare, obviously. 27 up, 27 down. No errors.
We had a spate of them early in the last decade. Remember, Felix Hernandez threw one, Philip Umber threw one. There were a couple others that are escaping my mind right now, but there were like 5 of them in a 4-year span. But they tend to come like that very rarely. When Jim Bunning pitched the perfect game against the Mets in 1964, I don't think they'd been on one in the National League for over 50 years. They're the last 6 perfect games. See how they were all clumped in that 4-year span? Matt Cain, Ray Halladay, Dallas Braden, Mark Burley, in addition to Umber and King Felix. And now it's been 10 years since the last one. 3-2 coming to Real Muto, and that's low, ball 4. So the Phillies got a couple in the 6th to scratch a little closer. Now they get the leadoff man on in the 7th. That's 5 walks given up by Met pitchers today, and Bryce Harper will come up with a man on.
And also 5 walks given up by Philly pitchers. It's 10 walks in the ball game.
Which may be why we're 3 hours and 10 minutes into this game, and it's just the bottom of the 7th. The nice thing is it's been a gorgeous day to sit in the ballpark. Just some high clouds, temperature right around 80 degrees. Bryce Harper didn't miss a home run by much his last time up. Hit one of the fence in left field that Mark Canha caught. He's 0 for 2 and a walk in this game. Mets have done a remarkable job against the 2 big left-handed bats in the Phillies lineup. Schwarber and Harper between them in this series are 1 for 20. And if you can do that kind of job against those 2 left-handed sluggers, you have a pretty good chance to win a series. And that's the position the Mets are in if they can throw some strikes. And now 2-1 to Harper. Nick Castellanos on deck, and more than likely we'll see Adam Ottavino in the game to pitch to Castellanos, with another right-hand batter Bohm behind him. Changeup misses down to Harper, and now it's 3-1. So after a leadoff walk to Real Muto, Rodriguez falls behind the left-hand hitter. Buck Showalter with a slightly exasperated look. And that's inside, ball 4. And now Joely Rodriguez has walked back-to-back hitters to start the 7th, and his tenure in this game is going to end. Another stroll to the mound for Buck Showalter. He's got Adam Ottavino to come on to face Castellanos. Mets trying to hang on to an 8-3 lead in the 7th. We'll be right back. Sculptor at work. William Barron's putting the finishing touches on the statue to be unveiled on Friday. Larger than life rendering of the franchise. Tom Seaver statue will be unveiled 10:30 on Friday morning in the plaza outside the Jackie Robinson Rotunda. We'll have it for you right here on SNY before the home opener. Our coverage begins at 10:30 on Friday morning. The Seaver statue unveiling, followed by the Mets and the Diamondbacks. Adam Ottavino out there for the first time since Saturday. Got the final 2 outs in the Mets' 5-0 win in that game. He comes in here to face Nick Castellanos with 2 on and nobody out in the 7th. And the first pitch slider in for a strike, 0-1. Castellanos had a double and scored a run in the 4th. He's also walked and popped up 1 for 2. He's had the best series of any Philly, 4 hits in 9 at-bats. Real Muto at second, Harper at first after a pair of walks, and Castellanos off the fist into left field. That's in for a base hit. Real Muto will score. Harper to third, Castellanos into second with a soft double to drive in a run, and now it's 8-4 New York. The Phillies fight.
Fastball in. Castellanos very quick inside. Easy score there. The lead runner for Real Muto. Back runner's got a big wide turn by Harper, but he wasn't going to score anyway. And the Mets with the walks and hit batsmen of too many free passes, giving the Phillies a chance to come back.
Alec Bohm up for the first time, and it takes a fastball high from Ottavino. Bohm started the first game of this series. He came off the bench last night and grounded out. It's the only time he's been retired this season. And he takes a slider up high, and it's 2-0. Scherzer left after 5, having thrown 96 pitches, and the Mets bullpen handed an 8-1 lead. Has given a big chunk of it back. 2 runs charged to Reed Foley, 1 so far charged to Joely Rodriguez. And now Ottavino behind on Bohm, 3-0. Last night the Mets bullpen was stellar, chasing Shreve, Drew Smith, Edwin Diaz combined for 3 2/3 scoreless innings. Not stellar so far today. 3-0 coming to Bohm. There's a strike. Didi Gregorius on deck. Bohm came in to pinch run when Segura was hit on the wrist by a pitch leading off in the 6th and stayed in at first base. Second and third, nobody out, infield back with a 4-run lead. And that slider swung and missed, 3-2. Slider's always been Ottavino's biggest stock in trade.
Nobody out. Second and third. You got to get a runner in here.
Three-two coming. Hits it out to center. That'll get a run in. Tagging is Harper. Nimmo makes the catch. It's a sacrifice fly for Bohm as Harper comes home with the second run of the inning. And the Mets lead, once 8-1, is now 8-5. Both the runs in this inning charged to Joely Rodriguez. So between them, Reed Foley and Rodriguez throw an inning and give up 4 runs. Now Didi Gregorius comes up against Ottavino. Former Yankee teammates. Gregorius 3 for 5 in his career against Ottavino. And Slashed foul on a fastball, 0-1. Didi's grounded out, struck out, and walked in this game. 2 for 9 in this series. And relievers have walked 3 in the last 2 innings, and all 3 have come around to score. Gregorius pops one up into shallow left center. Out Lindor in Canna, and it's Lindor going out to make the catch. That ball did not have a lot of air under it, and Lindor had to scoot out there to make sure he'd get there in time. 2 out. So 2 out. And now Johan Camargo. A couple of lefties up in the bullpen. Bailey Falter and Brad Hand both throwing. Hand got the save in the first game of the series because Corey Knebel was ill. Knebel is back today, so Hand moved into a setup role again. And Ottavino gets a slider in for a strike to Camargo. Well, Johan Camargo had an adventurous at bat in the 6th inning. He thought he had a 2-run double down the left field line. It was later overturned and ruled a foul ball, so Camargo got back in the box and got himself a hit anyway. Single to right field. And he slashes this one foul into the netting, and it's 0-2.
The guy that points that toe back towards the third base dugout like Soto.
Grounded past the mound toward the middle. McNeil cuts it off. That keeps the run from scoring. But it's a base hit for Camargo. And now the Phillies, who once trailed this game by 7 runs, will bring the tying run to bat. McNeil did exactly what he should have done. Gave ground to make sure that ball didn't go through to keep Castellanos from coming home. So this game, which appeared to be in the kip, is now very much out of the kip.
And it's never over till it's over.
Bryson Stott will be the batter. Stott's had a good day at the plate. 2 for 3. He's driven in a pair of runs. And Stott, who hit 16 home runs in the minor leagues last year, is the tying run at bat. 1st and 3rd and 2 out. And Stott takes a slider for a strike. 0-1.
Well, there's their big bat on the bench right there. You got Stott with 2 hits today and an RBI. You can't take him out of the game. Left-hand hitter.
Hoskins has his batting gloves on. He's ready. And Stott drives one to right field, but right at Marte to end the inning. A bullet off the bat of Bryson Stott. But Ottavino able to breathe a sigh of relief. Phillies get 2. It's now 8-5 after 7. All right, guys, we look forward to your post game, but there's still lots of game to go. Mets were up 8-1. It's now 8-5 as we go to the 8th inning. Well, the Mariners have the longest postseason drought in baseball. They came close last year but fell short. Same was true of the Phillies, who were only a game and a half out of the division lead with a week to go before losing 6 of 7. So it's been 11 years since they've been to the postseason. Longest drought of any National League team. Postseason a little easier to obtain this year with 6 teams from each league making it. 3 division winners and 3 wild cards. Bailey Falter will be the 6th Philadelphia pitcher of the day.
He made his debut in 21 with the Phillies. His first time he's broken camp with opening day roster. He sucked up the L in the one loss to Oakland in the opening series for the Phillies.
Not a very hard thrower. Tomas Nido leads off for New York and swings and misses at a fastball. 0-1. Nido had a base hit and scored a run in the 6th inning. Mets looked like they had broken the game open with a 4-run 6th, capped by Pete Alonso's 3-run homer, but probably would behoove them to score a few more runs the way this game is going. Phillies with 2 in the 6th and 2 in the 7th to make it a ball game again. And Nido shoots one foul, and it's 0-2. Nimmo on deck, Lindor behind him. Let's have Seth Lugo up in the bullpen, getting ready to pitch in the 8th inning. Day off tomorrow, so no problem throwing Edwin Diaz back-to-back days. He got the save last night in his return from the bereavement list. And Nido watches the cutter low and inside. 1-2. The Mets 8 runs, 8 hits. The Phillies 5 runs, 8 hits. Home runs today by Nimmo and Alonso. A 5 RBI day for Pete. Nido watches that fastball run inside, and it's 2-2. Good relief outing for Jose Alvarado. He threw a 1-2-3-7. Took him to 6 pitches to get there. And he was throwing strikes, which is not often the case with Alvarado. But he was able to channel that 100 miles an hour into the strike zone this afternoon. And Nido watches low, and now it's a full count. Let's see. Philly pitchers have walked 5 and hit 3. Met pitchers have walked 6 and hit 1. It's a lot of free bases.
No comment. Sometimes things best left unsaid.
Off the fifth to center field, and Vierling drifting back. Nido retired, 1 out. Hey, tonight at 11 o'clock, if this game is over by then, it'll be Geico Sports Night. We'll have all the day in baseball, including Clayton Kershaw's 7 perfect innings, and basketball and hockey news as well.
7 perfect innings and 13 strikeouts, guy?
Hey, doesn't Kevin Durant spend a lot of time being unhappy? Seems like he's very not happy a lot of the time. Great player. Needs to smile more. Here's Nimmo with 1 out. The deal was that he felt as though his teammate had given the opposition bulletin board material, because they're going to play the Celtics, and his teammate said that they were going to beat the Celtics. That they had this guy that they could take advantage of, and that guy who was out. So that's why he's upset today.
Well, he has a good reason there. He never pop off, especially when the Knicks are in last place in their division.
This is the Nets we're talking about.
Oh, the Nets.
The Nets.
That's right. Yeah.
Nimmo's had a big day with a home run and a pair of walks. And Brandon pops this one up in foul ground. Might be playable. Camargo coming over, but no.
I guess you can tell I haven't followed the NBA in a long, long time.
No, neither have I. Not since 1985, but, you know. The last time I think I watched a whole NBA game, remember when Michael Jordan made his return and he went for 55 at the Garden? I think that was 1985, and I think that's the last full NBA game that I watched. College basketball, I'll watch 3 games a night. 1-2 coming to Nimmo, and a fastball got him looking. Ellie Falter got an advantageous call from Adrian Johnson there for his first strikeout. That is 10 strikeouts for Philly pitchers today, and there are 2 down. So 2 out now. Lindor. Francisco's 1 for 4 today. He had a double as a left-hand batter in the 5th inning. Hit it into the right field corner and scored a run. In fact, he scored 2 runs today. Philly bullpen is now retired 6 in a row since the Alonso 3-run homer against Connor Brogdon in the 6th. Now back over the screen, and it's 0-2. Francisco's old team, the Guardians, got another win today, beat Cincinnati, but Stephen Kwan did not get a hit. That's a headline. He went 0 for 4. Did draw a walk, though. Here's the 0-2. Too high. Kwan had reached base safely 18 times in his first 5 games in the major leagues, a new major league record. On base only once today. Still on base 19 times in 6 games. That's pretty good. He's certainly made a splash. Cleveland off to a 4-2 start with their new name. And that just missed. Falter was walking off the mound. He was heading toward the dugout.
I think that surprised home plate umpire Adrian Johnson. That's the best breaking ball he's thrown. Snapped it right where you want it.
And that looked like a strike from here. Lindor gets a life with a 2-2 count. Got a piece of that fastball and fouled it off. Still 2-2. Marte on deck.
We're getting a little taste of these this 28-man roster here for the month of April.
And Lindor takes it high, and now full count to Francisco. Second full count of the inning for Falter. Anybody total up all the full counts for the day? Three-two coming to Lindor, and he missed inside, ball 4. So after Falter thought he had Lindor struck out a couple of pitches earlier, he winds up walking him. That is the 6th walk for Philadelphia pitching today. And now Starling Marte will come up.
You know, I kind of
looking for his 3rd hit of the day.
I feel for home plate umpire Adrian Johnson. We got games coming on go 4 hours. All these walks, hit by pitches, pitchers that are all over the place. I mean, it's just a drive you bats.
Is it driving you bats?
No, I'm fine with it. I mean,
okay?
He's got to be out there in the heat and see every pitch he's out there. And we got guys that just don't know what they're doing or can't, just don't have the ability to put it where they want.
Well, there have now been 12 walks and 4 hit batsmen in this game to go with 16 hits. Marte had an infield single in the 4th. He singled up the middle to drive in a run in the 6th. He scored 2. Lindor at first with 2 down. Not a very big lead. And Marte fouls one back. And it's 1-1. Lindor tried to steal a base last night after Marte had stolen one in the 8th, but Lindor was caught stealing to end that top of the 8th. Alonso on deck. He's already had himself a huge day. We'll have to get him another opportunity with a couple of men on. And that off-speed pitch sails outside. It's 2-1. Alonso has 5 RBIs today. He's had 6 once in his career. That came in 2019 in his rookie year in Atlanta. Remember how he loved hitting in Atlanta his rookie year? He hit it in the water in center field twice in his 53 home run season. Marte flies one to shallow right. On comes Harper. And Bryce puts it away. That retires the side. Now we go to the bottom of the 8th. Seth Lugo coming on, protecting a 3-run lead. Friday before the Mets home opener paid tribute to the franchise with live coverage of the ceremony and unveiling of the new Tom Seaver statue at Citi Field. The franchise forever, presented by Catholic Health and Tri-State Cadillac dealers Friday at 10:30 a.m. only on SNY. Seth Lugo trying to bounce back from a rough outing on Monday night.
Yep, Seth got the loss in that game that they got away from in the first game in the series.
Rhys Hoskins will bat for Matt Vierling, leading off in the last of the 8th. Hoskins sat out today because of poor numbers against Max Scherzer, and he takes a fastball inside from Lugo for ball 1. Hoskins just 2 for 17 against Lugo, but one of those 2 was the game-tying double in the game on Monday. And Lugo misses high with a fastball. Lugo had trouble throwing his curve or his slider for strikes in that outing. He walked his first batter, Castellanos, then gave up the back-to-back doubles to Hoskins and Gregorius. He buries that slider low, and it's 3-0.
Boy, it seems like the pitchers are going to have a little whammy on this game here.
Here's a strike. Kyle Schwarber on deck, and then JT Realmuto. If anybody gets on, Bryce Harper in this 8th inning. Phillies with 2 runs in the 6th and 2 in the 7th to get closer. Let's have the shift on against Hoskins. And he hits one on the ground into that shift, and it handcuffs Lindor, but he stays with it and throws him out. Not an easy play as that ball came up for Francisco.
But he stayed in front and used 2 hands, Gare. Ball came up and he smothered it with his body. Good fundies.
I mean, in the box score, it looks like a routine 6-3, but you have to play that ball
Play in front of it
the right way. Otherwise, that becomes a difficult play.
He did it absolutely perfect. Well, one thing about Lindor uses 2 hands. He's not a fancy Dan by any stretch of the imagination.
Well, here's Schwarber, and the Mets so far have been able to put the kibosh on Schwarber, who just myrtleized them last year. He's 0 for 11 in this series after hitting 9 home runs in 10 games against the Mets last year. And Lugo misses with a changeup, and it's 1-1. Schwarber 3 for 8 against Lugo. 3 infielders on the right side against Schwarber. And he rips one down the line, just foul.
Another close one.
A lot of calls down there for John Tumpane. Survived the 7th inning with a couple of men on and the tying run at bat. Bryson Stott hit a bullet to right field at 103 miles an hour that Marte caught. 1-2 to Schwarber, and the curveball up and away. Seth looked very sharp in his first 2 outings of the year in Washington. He pitched the first and second games of the season. Then had a few days off before pitching on Monday when he struggled. And that curveball fouled off. JT Realmuto waiting on deck. That's 8 runs, 8 hits. The Phillies 5 runs and 8 hits. We're in the 8th. Again, the 2-2. Curveball just missed. Full count. Schwarber just a .236 hitter, but he draws a lot of walks.
Yeah, he's a dangerous hitter. That's what you'd say.
32 home runs last year in the regular season, and then he had 3 more in the postseason. But he went on the most ungodly home run stretch we've ever seen last year, hitting 16 home runs in an 18-game span. It's reminiscent of what Cespedes did in the latter stages of that 2015 season when he went on his home run tear. And the curveball fouled off.
Had himself a nice World Series.
Cubs won it all in 2016. Ninth pitch of the at bat coming to Schwarber. And Lugo dots the outside corner, strike 3 call. After all those breaking pitches, he gets Schwarber looking at a fastball for the second out.
I thought it had the corner.
Third time Schwarber's been struck out today.
Too close to take, Gary.
So Schwarber 0 for 12 in the series. Schwarber 0 for 12, Harper 1 for 9. Not too many teams are going to do that over the course of the season. Hold those two big left-handed sluggers to 1 for 21. Harper's going to get another chance at it. Here's Real Muto when he takes a strike. Real Muto 1 for 3 and a walk. Seth would love to end this 8th inning right here and leave Harper on deck to lead off the 9th. And he misses with the slider, and it's 1-1. Have to assume that Diaz is going to get the 9th if it remains this close a game. Although Diaz did throw a lot of pitches last night, 23 in getting the save. Curveball misses. He's really had trouble throwing that curveball for a strike.
Yes.
There's Edwin. He returned from Puerto Rico after his grandfather passed away. Spent 3 days down there. He said he was very close with his grandfather. Fouled away by Real Muto, 2-2. Catchers in their first 8 seasons, only 4 in the National League have had more extra base hits than JT Real Muto at this stage in their career. 1 more than Gary Carter.
Well, Johnny Bench was the gold standard. Mike Piazza, probably one of the greatest offensive catchers. Johnny Bench certainly probably the greatest defensive catcher. He was really something behind the plate, and not a pretty fair hitter too.
Yeah, you combine the offense and the defense, it's hard to beat what Bench brought to the table. Full count now to Real Muto with Harper looming on deck. So 3 batters in this inning for Lugo. 3 ball counts to all 3. He was able to retire Hoskins and Schwarber. Now 3-2 to Real Muto. And he struck him out. Got him chasing a slider. And Lugo finishes off a 1-2-3 inning with a couple of strikeouts. On to the 9th in Philadelphia, 8-5 New York. Large part because of a big day for Pete Alonso. 2 RBI doubles and this 3-run homer in the 6th.
Off Brogdon, fastball away, went right with it. And this ballpark's not going to hold Pete. That was the big blow. 3-run shot.
Second home run of the year. His first home run was a grand slam. His second one a 3-run homer.
2 swings, 7 ribeyes.
Came into the day with 5 RBIs in the first 6 games. He's got 5 RBIs in his last 3 at bats. Simone Muzziotti comes in to play center field after Veerling left for a pinch hitter. Edwin Diaz getting ready for the save chance in the bottom of the 9th, unless the Mets tack on, in which case it would no longer be a save chance. Alonso, Escobar, and Smith up in the top of the 9th, and Bailey Falter, who pitched a hitless 8th inning, throws ball 1 to Alonso. Pete had 2 extra base hits coming into the day. He's got 3 extra base hits this afternoon. Late on the fastball, and it's 1-1. Aaron Nola started for Philadelphia, went 3 1/3. Walked 3, hit 2, gave up 3 hits and 3 runs. Sir Anthony Dominguez, an inning, a third, a run, 2 hits. Damon Jones, 2/3 of an inning, 2 runs. Connor Brogdon, 2/3 of an inning, 3 runs. Before Alvarado and Falter have calmed things down the last 2 innings.
Oh boy.
Sails that one up and away, and it's 2-1. Eduardo Escobar waiting on deck. Looking ahead to the bottom of the 9th, the Phillies will have Harper, Castellanos, and Bohm due up, with Diaz at the ready. Lugo didn't have his best outing by any means, but the results were good. On the ground is short. Gregorius giving ground. And throws out Alonso, one away. You know, the proof is in the pudding, but Lugo didn't look that much sharper today than he did the other night.
He had trouble with his curveball again.
But he got Real Muto to chase that slider out of the strike zone on 3-2, which certainly helped him out. Here's Escobar, who's walked 3 times today and flied out. 8 walks in the first 6 games for Escobar. Just not really on his dance card. And he drives one to deep left center field. Back goes Muzziotti looking up near the wall. And is it out of here? It's touched by a fan, and I'm not sure whether it's a home run or not. Going diving into third is Escobar. It's going to be fan interference. The question is, was it over the fence or not when the fan touched the ball? He hit it to the deepest part of the ballpark where it juts out to 409 in distant left center field, and you've got that diagonal railing out there, and the umpires confer, and almost certainly they will go to replay to figure out whether Escobar should get credit for a home run. If not, he'll have himself a triple. You see the fan with the glove reach out.
Not a home
and
run.
It looks like it was not a home run. In fact, his glove got knocked off his hand reaching over the railing. So that ball appeared to be still in play.
Bad hands.
Yep. I mean,
If that ball plays off the wall.
did he get his glove back? Oh, that was nice of Muzziotti. He tossed him his glove back
interference
after he lost it. So they're going to go to the replay center and let Dan Iasonia and Ted Barrett, the crew chiefs in the replay center, figure this out.
And I didn't know you noticed, but Escobar hustled out of the box. I mean, I'm not so sure it would have been a triple, Gary, because if the center fielder plays it off the wall properly, he was in position to play it.
Well, the young man who interfered with the ball now trying to make himself scarce. Pulling the old Jeffrey Mayer play, but Jeffrey was able to catch the ball.
He's lucky he's not in Wrigley Field
during the postseason. Now on fan interference, it is up to the umpires to place the runner. It's not like a ground rule double where if the ball bounces into the stands, it's automatically 2 bases. The umpires can choose where to place the runner. Now Escobar, because he hustled, made it to third base. But the umpires could determine that if the fan doesn't interfere with the ball, that maybe it wouldn't be a triple. Let's see.
interference. The runner will place at third.
And they do place him at third, so it will be a triple for Escobar, a fan interference triple. And so Escobar on base for the 3rd time today. Didn't miss a home run by much.
Well, good hustle by Escobar. Phillies are going to have to bring the infield in. Joe's complaining about them placing him on third base.
Yep. And I can understand that, because if that ball hits the wall rather than being touched by the fan's glove, there's every chance that Escobar would have had to hold it third. But
if the center fielder plays it cleanly and gets it in, it's a double.
There's no way to know for sure, but the umpires, in their discretion, decide to put him at third. For Escobar, that is his 38th career triple. He had 5 last year, and now his first as a Met.
Infield in, and a big shift on the infield.
Tom Smith at the plate. He's had a rough day. 3 strikeouts and hit by a pitch, and he takes a call strike from Falter, 0-1. So that was the Mets' 9th hit of the afternoon. They have 3 doubles, 2 homers, and now a triple. 6 extra base hits among their 9 hits. Infield up all the way around. And Dom floats one to shallow left. Castellanos comes in. Escobar tagging, and he's going to try it. Castellanos with the throw to the plate, and Escobar gets in safely as it trickles past Real Muto. It's a sacrifice fly for Dom Smith to bring in Escobar and make it 9-5 New York. More aggressive base running by the Mets.
You got Joey Cora over there. That's the third base coach, and he is solid. Not a good throw from Castellanos. Ball tailed into the runner.
Muto trying for the short hop pickup, couldn't quite come up with it, and Escobar scores easily. So the Mets tack one on. That takes away the save chance for Diaz, but he is still loosening. Looks like he's still going to come in. Here's Mark Canha, who pops one foul backing out of play. Canha's gone 0 for 3 and been hit by a pitch today. Game is edging toward 4 hours old. Which means we will all be 4 hours older than when the game began.
We will be.
Taken high by Canha, a ball and a strike.
Maybe the rush hour traffic will be filtered out.
See, you're such an optimist. Look at you, always looking at the glass half full. I wonder how many texts that young man has gotten over the last 10 minutes. Grounded foul outside third, 1 and 2. How are you getting home, by the way? Because you drove with me from Washington to Philadelphia, and you know, some people felt as though you were taking your life into your hands, but I think I got you here fairly safe.
You're a very good driver. I don't know where you get that reputation. I'm going to go home with Big Tommy in the truck and John, our director. Tommy lives on the Upper East Side, and he's going to drop me right near where he lives, Midtown.
Canha grounds one down to third, and Camargo will take care of it. I hope he's handling your luggage. Bohm stays on the bag, and that retires the side. Mets tack one on and lead 9-5 going to the bottom of the ninth. List and picked up his first save of the season. This will now be a non-save situation with a 4-run lead in the ninth.
Diaz looked as sharp as I've ever seen him last night. Excellent slider. I got a feel now that he's kind of comfortable in that Met uniform, and I think he's going to have a solid year, the year we expected from him that he had in Seattle.
He said last night about all the sliders he threw. He said they kept swinging at it. I figured I'd stay with it. He threw 5 straight sliders to strike out Bryce Harper last night. Well, here's Harper, who's drawn 2 walks today, otherwise 0 for 2. Harper 1 for 9 in this series. Schwarber 0 for 12.
I think the most important thing about the sliders, they kept swinging at it, what he said, but they also, the most important thing was they kept swinging and missing.
And he starts off Harper this time with a fastball. So that's interesting, right? Last night in a 2-run game, he threw 5 straight sliders to Harper with a man on base. This time he comes with number 1.
4-run lead. It's like the guys have been out here for 4 hours. Let's get in the clubhouse.
Comes with the slider there, and Harper fouls it off. Castellanos on deck. Bohm behind him. That's trying to snatch a 5th game on this road trip, trying to finish it off 5-2 before they head home for their home opener on Friday. Should be Chris Bassett on the mound against Zach Davies with the Diamondbacks in town for 3. And Harper just got a piece on a backdoor slider to hang in there. Let's have 3 with the Diamondbacks and 4 with the Giants on that opening homestand before they head to Arizona and St. Louis. So after today, 6 of their next 10 games will be against the Diamondbacks, who lost 110 games last year and have started out 1-4 this year. Harper golfs one out to left, back toward the corner. Canha near the wall, and it's out of here. Bryce Harper with an opposite field home run just inside the foul pole. His first home run of the season to cut the Mets lead to 9-6. Just tucked it inside that left field foul pole, and that sets the Liberty Bell a-ringing.
Fastball away, but it's down, and that's how strong Harper is.
Just had enough.
And 334 is not a short poke.
This game just will not go away. 9-6 now. Here's Castellanos, who's doubled twice and driven in a run, and he goes after a first pitch slider, 0-1. Castellanos had an infield hit against Diaz last night, a hot shot to short that Lindor made a great stop on, nearly got the game-ending force play, but Real Muto beat the play at second. And that slider in for a strike, and quickly 0-2. Alec Bohm, the on-deck batter. So Harper with just his second hit of the series and his first home run of the year. Certainly not a classic Harper shot. And a swing and a miss, and Castellanos down on strikes for the first out in the bottom of the ninth. See 11 strikeouts for Met pitchers today. Not messing around, throwing all sliders to Castellanos. Taking care of him on 3 pitches. Now Alec Bohm bats for the second time. Bohm came in the game when Segura was hit on the wrist by a pitch back in the 6th. Bohm lifted a sacrifice fly to drive and run in the 7th. And he takes a fastball for a strike. 99 miles an hour from Diaz. Got that slider in on his fists, and he fouls it off, and quickly it's 0-2. So after giving up the home run to Harper, Diaz has thrown 5 straight strikes. Oh-2 coming to Bohm, and he lifts this one out to right center. Marte has room. 2 out. So Diaz, after giving up the home run to Harper, has retired the next 2. 1 more out to secure as he takes on Didi Gregorius. Didi's 0 for 3 in a walk today, 2 for 10 in this series. Showalter ready to make his Citi Field debut as Mets skipper on Friday. It's slowly. Diaz off the mound. He'll take it himself, and the ball game is over. Diaz gives up the home run to Harper, retires the next 3. Huge day for Pete Alonso. Double, home run, 5 RBIs. Max Scherzer gets his second win as a Met. And the Mets finish off a 5-2 road trip to open the season as they beat the Phillies 9-6.
Well, a well-earned off day tomorrow to get settled, and then the excitement of opening day, the unveiling of the Seaver statue, I should say, at 10:30. That's when it starts. I'll be there. I'm looking forward to it. Gary, you're going to be there. But boy, new manager, bunch of new players, 7-game road trip, 5-2. Very nice.
There's your game summary. Scherzer goes 5 innings, strikes out 7, gets his second win. Pete Alonso with a big day, homer, 5 RBIs. 4 hours and 4 minutes worth every second. For every Mets win, the Amazing Mets Foundation is proud to contribute $2,500 to Northwell Health and the Katz Institute for Women's Health. For more information, visit northwell.edu/cats. With today's win, the total contribution so far this season is $12,500. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Toyota. Dear driver, hurry in and reserve your ride today. By Spectrum, switch and save with Spectrum Mobile, nationwide 5G included. Restrictions apply. Visit SpectrumMobile.com. By Geico, switch today and see all the ways you could save. And by M&M's, welcome back to baseball. M&M's for all fun kind. Final score this afternoon, the Mets 9, the Phillies 6. Mets take 2 out of 3 from the Phils and now head home for their home opener on Friday against the Diamondbacks. Coverage begins with the Tom Seaver statue unveiling at 10:30 on Friday morning. Now for Keith Hernandez, Steve Gelbs, and our entire SNY crew, I'm Gary Cohen in Philadelphia. Time for PointsBet postgame live. Let's join Gary Apple and Todd Zeal in the studio.